reporter places the blame for all of this squarely on you, the viewers.
Would you say we'd be venturing into a zone of danger?
It doesn't matter what you think.
You're listening to the Our Take Podcast with Brian Sherman.
He had a full head, all the way till the end. It was white, and I was hoping to get that. I was hoping to get, like, the full head, and it was really hard to cut it off.
And Spencer Rogers.
To be a good pilot, you have to be able to make good decisions, and I know what my credit score is, so I know I don't make good decisions.
This is the Our Take Podcast.
Well, from Ogden, Utah, Scary Parrot Media, it is the Our Take Podcast. I'm Brian.
I am Spencer, and guess what?
We have a very special guest.
Oh, that too.
Oh, what were you going to say?
It's the first episode of the new year.
It's true.
We didn't even talk about the year ending last time.
No, Happy New Year.
Happy 2019.
It felt really long, I think, and that's why.
Did it? Wait,
to me.
The year did?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
I don't know.
That's cool.
We have our first doctor on the show.
Yeah, we have this is our most educated guest.
Let's not go that far.
Guest?
Guest?
Most educated guest.
You already called me a special guest. I'm not really sure how to take that.
Yeah, this is Dr. Ethan Baham.
What's up, guys? It's good to be here.
Now, when we say doctor,
really?
Yeah.
He's a doctor, not like a fake, history doctor.
No, he's a doctor.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it's legit.
Yeah.
The DO.
I paid a lot of money for it. It better be legit.
A DO.
What does the DO stand for?
Doctor of Osteopathic Medicine.
More holistic approach.
It is.
Oh.
Not that whole.
No, that means he's, that's, I don't know, man.
What do you...
we're talking about healing crystals here? Or?
No. Not like not a naturopath or anything. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Holistic doesn't mean healing crystals.
Yeah,
no, it does not.
That's the crap my mom gives me. She's like, here, take this. It's from the earth. Like, all right, I'll just go put dirt in a capsule. It's the same freaking thing.
Well, you know what it was? Is that those hack medicines co-opted the word holistic.
Oh.
It was already taken by
I don't want Ethan to prescribe me essential oils, I guess.
No, we're not going to go there at all.
Just take this.
I'll just hang up my license now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to see you at the next conference across the street from my work at the Salt Palace.
Dude, that was huge.
Yeah,
doTERRA conference.
doTERRA smelled so bad.
Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine.
You could smell it down the streets. I'm not even exaggerating.
Yeah.
That is so huge here. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Well, it's because, anyway.
By the way, this day in history.
Yeah.
1947. On January 2nd, Mahatma Gandhi begins March for Peace in East Bengali.
Really?
Wow. That's crazy.
Good guy.
Yeah.
Brave guy.
Yeah.
Did you hear... Wait a second. I got to verify a rumor or not.
Okay.
I heard that in some of Mahatma's writing that he was kind of racist.
Oh, yeah, for sure. No, I don't know. I have no idea.
Are you being serious?
I'm dead serious. I heard this. And... Hang on. I heard they were removing it somewhere. They were
Can you do that?
He is the opposite of who I would think of as racist.
I know. Look at here it is. Okay, this is on The Guardian.
Okay.
The Guardian is up there, okay? This is the headline, quote unquote, racist Gandhi statue banished from Ghana University campus. Yeah.
Well,
academics win removal of Mahatma sculpture after petition denouncing Indian leader and saying African heroes come first. I guess he said that Indians. At some point he said it is better to stand up for our dignity than to kowtow to the wishes of a burgeoning Eurasian superpower. And he also said that Indians are infinitely superior to black Africans.
Well, I mean.
Oof.
That's totally not true, but I mean,
isn't it funny how things that happen in the U.S., with statue removal, bleeds over?
Oh, yeah, I guess so. Huh?
And the fact that you would put Mahatma,
yeah, that's pretty crazy.
in the same category as General Lee. Come on.
I mean, he shouldn't have said that, but it definitely doesn't seem that egregious.
But in the parlance of his time,
I agree. I'm not disagreeing.
We always talk about that,
Yeah.
My hang-up, we talked about the Confederacy. My hang-up is they lost.
Right. That's
so
true.
Why are you celebrating the loss?
Right. No, yeah, I get that.
You know?
Yeah, that's weird.
Anyway, this day in history.
That's really too bad to
That
hear.
was.
I know, right?
Yeah. Thanks for bringing us up and then bringing us down.
Well, I guess I'll bring you right back up.
Okay.
Because before we recorded this episode, it was New Year's Eve when we decided to record, and you said you wanted to hear some positive news?
Well, yeah, that day on the local news station, they've been doing a year in review.
Well, I'm going to read you a few.
And it was like, oh my gosh.
Not all of those. I'm just going to read you a few of these, okay? This year, the World Health Organization unveiled a new vaccine that's cheap and effective enough to end cholera. What do you think of that, Doctor?
I mean, it's not a big deal in the U.S. I could see it being helpful
what
elsewhere.
if kids don't get vaccinated, it might be.
Yeah, don't be selfish.
Do you really want to go down that road right now?
Well, we're going to get to that later.
All right.
Are we really?
Yeah. Number 2, cancer deaths have dropped by 25% in the United States since 1991.
Nice.
That's fantastic.
Isn't that cool?
That's good.
In July, UNAIDS, it's or UNAIDS, I don't know, it's an acronym, UNAIDS, revealed that for the first time in history, half of all people on the planet with HIV are now getting treatment.
That's fantastic.
AIDS deaths have dropped half since 2005.
Half of all people, is that because isn't half of them in
Africa?
Yes.
But the drugs are cheap. They're like, what are they? There was a charity that you could donate to, and it was like $1 would give someone a month's worth.
Oh, wow.
It would stop, correct me, doctor, it would stop the progression from HIV to AIDS.
Yeah, that's usually the case.
Yeah. And I know they have drugs as well that will stop it from being transmitted from mother to baby now.
Yes.
As well.
Oh, really? Well.
Okay. Leprosy is now treatable. The number of worldwide cases has dropped by 97% since 1985.
Can I tell you that I didn't know that it was actually still...
I thought that Jesus eradicated it.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Dr. Jesus.
A new plan has set 2020 as the target for eradicating the disease.
Yeah, well.
That's great.
On November 17th, the World Health Organization announced that global deaths from tuberculosis have fallen by 37% since 2000, saving an estimated 53 million lives.
Wow.
Also great.
Right?
What's with all the health news today?
Well, it's
what about down here? Saudi Arabia said women would no longer need male permission to travel or study.
Yeah.
And they can drive now, which I don't know. That kind of seems... I don't know.
And yeah, I'm sure that Trump's going to revoke women's licenses here.
Well, I mean, would that be the worst thing No, I'm just joking.
It's up there with the wall. What's the United States? This is a local one for you. Official poverty rate is now 12.7%, the lowest level since the end of the global financial crisis, which I'm assuming they mean
I'm glad to be part of the 12%.
0.7. 12.7. Happy news. Let's see.
Good. Good. That's good. I'm glad that there's...
one that's not on here that I read.
Huh.
Portland is using sewers to create power. They put little turbine in the sewers.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Why wouldn't everyone do that?
Yeah. Everyone's poop.
The poo turbines.
Yeah.
Power in the
city. As long as you don't create a fatberg, which we've talked about extensively.
What in the world is that?
A fatberg?
You
It's congealed
know what
fat
a fatberg
and
is?
congealed fat and baby wipes.
I was really hoping it was going to be something else besides what I was imagining.
The sewer.
No.
That's
It's
great.
definitely exactly like
And
what
they
it sounds like.
They pull them out of the sewers I think the story we had, it was in North Carolina, but in the UK they pulled one out that weighed like 5 tons. It was huge.
What?
So don't flush baby wipes. Even the ones that say flushable, don't flush them.
They're not.
You're not supposed to flush them.
They're not.
Well, I can't say I'm not contributing to that.
Well, I mean...
Can't say you're not?
Yeah.
You're a baby wipe guy? You have the man wipes?
What can I say?
They're not baby wipes. They're flushable, quote-unquote, flushable butt wipes.
Well, here's what you do.
I think that's what Dollar Shave Club
Semantics.
calls them, literally.
Here's what you do then. This is the test. You get a cup of water, 2 cups of water. You put toilet paper in one, a flushable wipe in the other, and see how they dissolve.
All right.
Because toilet paper dissolves really quickly.
Okay, I'm going to do that. I'm going to film it and then put it on the
Nice.
Facebook.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe it's a problem. I don't think I need to.
Well, I'm just saying, you're creating
experiment.
fatbergs.
I know that
right.
water
I'm guilty.
conservancy is a problem, but that doesn't always stop me from taking a long shower. So, I mean, it is what it is, I guess.
Water conservancy. I don't know. That's a whole other...
That is a long topic.
Yeah.
I mean, you can still go to the store and buy it, and then we can just put it in the rivers, right?
Oh, my gosh.
Do you realize that if everyone just put, like, a single brick in their toilet tank, we'd probably just... And if you know what I mean?
A brick?
Yeah, you put a brick in there, or you could change the float.
Oh.
It's just an easier way. Just change the volume of the water. I was at a urinal, and it's 1.0 gallons per flush.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Gallon?
Have you seen my toilet? It has 2 buttons.
It has 2 buttons, yeah.
Number 1 and number 2.
Why would it take a gallon to flush a urinal?
I have no idea.
I don't ever flush urinals.
Some of them are constantly flushing.
They're auto.
Like, unless it's auto. But if it's not, I don't ever flush it. Because why?
Just stupid. I know. Yeah.
It feels contradictory. You're telling me not to use wipes, but you're saying I should use a bidet.
No. It's fine. The Conservancy, whatever. I'm saying don't create a fatberg because someone has to go clean that up, and that's rude.
And it's not
it is
going to be
disgusting,
you.
admittedly. Yeah.
It's not
Use
gonna
all
be
the
me.
water you want. Actually, if you pee in the shower, chances are you're using less than a gallon in the time that you're peeing.
That's true.
So
it's not a bad idea.
So
there you go.
So every time I need to pee, I should also shower.
Yes, you should shower more often.
Take like 5 showers a day.
Now we're really talking about saving water.
You open your shower door and you pee into that drain.
All right.
Shower.
I mean, yeah.
That's
so
happy news. Okay?
Yeah. So here's some not interesting, but
can I say something though?
Yeah,
because the last episode was really heavy.
Oh, this one's not that heavy.
So I don't want to apologize because that's not in my nature, but let's make it light.
Although
we'll make it light.
Parkland is coming up in topic again later.
But
anyway, today, if you invested in Apple, which I obviously have, look at where I live right now.
You clearly own
my Honda Civic and my basement kind of apartment.
You're swimming in
obviously, I got on the ground floor of Apple.
A 12% stakeholder.
You might have got, if you did, if you were invested in Apple, you might have got a letter from Tim Cook today telling you that the bad news that Apple did not meet their projections and quote, it's the darkest day in Apple history for Tim Cook.
But they still made.
But they did. So instead of making $91 billion, like they projected, they only made a measly $84 billion.
See,
rough day.
Listen,
yes.
Either of you guys invest?
No.
Do I look like the type of person that has that kind of money?
I did. I don't know why. I can't figure it. It's too complicated. I don't like numbers.
So, I don't. I'll go into like my mutual fund and move stuff around from like large caps to small caps, bonds. But
I don't even know what that means.
I know. If the doctor doesn't know what it is, then
the higher risk, low
I
risk.
Definitely don't.
The higher the risk, the chances are for a better yield. The lower the risk, like a bond, if you're buying like a treasury bond.
Like James Bond.
They don't, yes, exactly. If you buy James Bond, they don't yield as much, but they're safe.
Yeah.
So, I hate these earnings reports because look how much money they made.
Yeah. But it's a dark day in Apple
history. It's a dark day. You made 84. What have we? This is not capitalism. This is now greed.
Yeah.
I don't think capitalism was meant to be greed.
No.
Well, I don't think Apple as a company is sad. It's probably their investors that are sad. All the stockholders.
But that's the problem.
Right.
If you piss off the investors, they pull their money out and go to Google.
Right. I can't imagine that Tim Cook's sad about that kind of progress in his company. Certainly his shareholders are pissed. But
well, it's Steve Jobs' company, but just kidding.
Touche.
Well, you'll start investing soon, because we didn't say this. Congratulations, you will be. You're a resident right now.
I am,
and you'll be. I don't know how to say it. What? You're already.
I'll be an actual practicing physician, free of the restraints of residency. I don't know how you say that either.
Right, because you're already a doctor.
I'm already a doctor.
Right,
I practice already.
He's like on the 6th season of Scrubs right now.
Yeah.
Really?
In what 6-7 months, you'll be an independently licensed doctor.
Correct.
With no restrictions.
Correct.
Yeah.
Do you wear a white coat?
I try not to.
Seems
I feel like they're a little bit.
Oh, I totally wear a white coat.
Really?
Really?
Hell yeah.
Only douchey people wear the white coat.
You
can wear one of mine.
I don't think I've gone to a doctor in a long time that wears a white coat.
I can't remember. All I know is that if I've done what Dr. Baham over here has done, I would wear a white coat.
Do you have to keep calling me that?
Yeah.
I've known you like my whole life.
I think
we should note that Ethan was my best man.
Wearing the white coat and not wearing, when you don't wear the white coat, it's like you've been there. All right, you've been there before. It's that swag. Like Golden State Warriors, they come out and they're like, "Yeah, we've been here before." But when you wear the white coat, you're like, "Look at me! I've never been here before. I think I'm cool. I'm wearing the jacket."
No, I still see like.
I think that when you walk
Shaq
outside,
still wears his rings, man.
Yeah, but
I wear it in the hospital. There, people don't know that I'm a doctor
okay.
if I walk in the room. If
Yeah.
they come to my clinic, they already know I'm a doctor. I feel like it's just presumptuous to wear my jacket.
that's true.
I don't know. I mean,
I
don't
like
know.
it.
Maybe pompous, but I would still wear it. It's like I had a professor in college that she was an astrophysicist, and she demanded that we call her doctor.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know, but I can't.
If someone said that to me, I would definitely never call them doctor.
But I mean,
I guess if my grade depended on it.
understand what they went through.
Yeah, I don't care.
It's the
They don't
difference.
understand what I went through. I spent just as long as a doctor did in school for my bachelor's degree.
You have one. You have a doctor right here.
That's defensible.
Let's see who had a harder time.
Hey, I'm just saying. I'm probably
What was your degree?
aviation administration. Not only did it take me around 10 years to graduate, but I probably have the same amount of debt as he does too.
Not even close.
I don't know.
Not even close.
That's going to be depressing news, so we should probably not go down that road either.
You know what? It's topical though because it's important that we don't have to go into it. But
Oh, we can if
the
you want.
student loans, it's a problem.
Yeah, when we were at the New Year's Eve party the other day, it seemed like everyone there was facing
We were in a very educated room.
the similar.
That's fair.
Similar.
We have Ethan, who's a doctor. We have a good friend who's she's a doctor, a veterinarian. Her husband has a master's degree in education. Mm-hmm. I have a bachelor's degree.
Yeah, I have a
You
bachelor's.
have a bachelor's degree.
Yeah.
Ethan and I studied the same bachelor's, so I can say that I followed him to a point.
And then you were like, screw
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. Then I got into.
I don't like
just-
blood.
I think you graduated like a year before me, though.
No, it was like I think I was a half semester ahead of you, but then you kept going
Right.
to get you finished. He got a dual major in chemistry and psych, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So I got a minor in anthro and a major in psych. Anyways, my point is that for a good person to become a doctor, they have to basically pay the rest of their life to help other people.
Yeah, I
You know,
guess.
it's weird.
Yeah, for sure.
There are
Yeah.
definitely easier ways to make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like winning the lottery.
Wall Street.
That would be good.
You know, Wall Street, do some coke. You'll be rich in a year.
Migrate your bonds
Invest in
and your
Coke?
whatever trust funds around or
If
whatever
you
you're
invest
rocking.
in coke,
Cocaine.
as long as you're not the top El Chapo, if you're just like a mid-level guy, you're making it.
Oh yeah. Speaking of schools, let's see. I went to UVU, Utah Valley University. You went to Weber, which are pretty much equivalent schools. And where did you do your post under? What is it? Your overgrad?
We'll just call it medical school.
It's called medical school for a doctor.
I was at Des
I
Moines
like
University.
overgrad better.
Overgrad. That's good.
What is it?
Des Moines University
Oh, Des Moines
in Iowa.
in Iowa. Do you have any school pride from either of you have any like?
I love Weber State.
I mean, they're both great schools.
No, you can suck it. I know what
No,
you're
no,
gonna
no,
say.
no,
You
no.
get the-
You have no idea what
you've heard it. You've said it before.
You
What?
gonna make fun of us now?
He's made fun of us before on this podcast.
we have.
You jerk.
Seriously, our bachelor's degrees are like the same. They're equivalent. The schools are both state schools.
But I'm not talking crap on your school.
I'm not either. I'm not even.
He does.
This is
Yours
not where
is
this segment
almost
is
in
going.
provo,
The segment is taking a turn that was not intended. Anyway, the Utes, the University of Utah, lost in football the other day. They lost the Holiday Bowl. They were winning by 20 at the half, and then in the third quarter, Northwestern scored 4 touchdowns and won.
in one quarter.
That's
So
rough.
what I want to know is
What the hell happened?
no, because when I heard about it, I was like, oh, that sucks. But I really don't care because I really don't care about the Utes. I have no emotional attachment. I like to see them win because I live in Utah, and the more they win, the better it is for the state. But
Is it?
yeah, it gets them more on the map, and yeah.
Is it?
I don't know.
But anyway,
Let's just piss off Jake and just say I don't care because it's football.
but okay, but.
Hey, Jake, football sucks.
But what I'm getting at is, do you have any emotional attachment? Because you're a Jazz fan.
Yeah.
Do you have any emotional attachment to the Jazz, to any other sports team? Like, when the Jazz were in the playoffs last year and they lost, were you actually bummed out, or was it just like, yeah?
Well, what do you like? No, I wasn't like depressed for 3 days.
Right.
But I was like, dang, that was close. I mean, I went to like every home playoff game.
Really?
Yeah, somehow I made it happen.
Jeez, Richie Rich
Wow.
over here, man.
Well, we were in the standing room only,
Oh.
up at the very top. But no, we went to because we beat the Rockets, which was amazing, and I think we took one off of OKC. I'm trying to remember.
No, that was the opposite.
It was the opposite.
Because
we
they
beat OKC.
Oklahoma,
That's right. I'm sorry.
And they took one from the Rockets.
So I went to all of the
Jazz
OKC
fans.
games.
I have no idea.
No, you're right. You're right. Yeah, because Paul George was really frustrating to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I have an emotional attachment to the Jazz. They lost last night, and I was pissed.
Yeah, they did.
And I wasn't pissed at the Jazz. I was once again pissed at the refs.
Oh.
The Jazz played really... So Toronto was like the best team in the league.
Right.
And we hung with them.
Yeah, I know. It
We
was actually pretty close.
We were at a 7-point... Now, the Jazz couldn't shoot. But two of their guys had career nights.
Right.
And there were clear calls. When Big T, Thurl Bailey, is saying, oh, I don't know about that call. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Seems sketchy.
They were calling bump fouls on Kawhi down when he's driving. Donovan Mitchell goes down and gets his head slammed into the backboard. It's stupid.
How is that?
He can jump, man. Guy's got hops.
Right.
They're all really tall.
The
right?
only time I've actually ever really been bummed out about sports is when the Rangers lost the 2010 and 11 World Series, and I was actually pretty sad about it.
For a few days, like
Not really. I mean, just kind of that
It's
night.
like-
It was a bummer.
yeah, it's like harder to go to sleep.
because they're not going to be there again for a long time.
See, I'm excited for Ethan to be done with school because I think now he can kind of get into this with me.
I hope so.
Yeah, he'll be here.
I'll tell you how into sports I am. I didn't even know the Jazz played last night.
Yeah, that's what
I
I'm talking
didn't
about.
even know the Jazz was a team. What is the Jazz?
I
Is
thought
it
you were talking about a blues
like,
bar.
yeah,
or
is it
something.
a?
Yeah, that's what I figured.
The musical group of some kind. All right, let's move on. Louis C.K.
Oh, man.
Do you know who the
Yeah.
Ethan?
Of
Are you
course,
familiar
yeah.
with Louis C.K.?
I am.
Familiar with his history?
Are
To
you
some degree.
with his current antics?
To some degree, yes.
So should we tell people?
Yeah, go ahead.
So Louis C.K. is a comic
So
who broke out by being very abrasive and very controversial
yeah,
in the early 2000s.
yeah,
He had his TV show. He was very well respected in the comedy world. Then the Me Too movement hit, and he was known to ask women if he could masturbate in front of them, and
Yeah.
then he would do it.
Yeah.
And he admitted to it. He said, yeah, I did it. I always asked, but what he didn't know was that he was kind of abusing his power in the comedy world because he was this kind of comedy god.
Right.
And he would have lower women who were trying to break into comedy. They perceived that they needed his help.
right.
And so when he would come to them with this, yeah. And so he copped to it. He admitted all of it. He said, I was wrong. I didn't realize my position was that powerful, and it's a kind of a perverted thing to do, but that's my thing. Sorry.
yeah,
So
and
then he's like, he took a step back for like,
yeah,
well, he said he
he's
was going to
been-
listen.
He's been quiet, and he has
Yeah.
been out of the spotlight for the most part. He probably should have just stayed that way for quite some time because people have because this is all this year pretty much. And
Yeah,
he lost all his shows. He's been, and he probably needed to back burner this for a couple years and wait for the heat to die down, but he didn't. And he
Well,
he
He did get kind of railroaded, if you will, by an old like 2011 clip with him and Chris Rock, Jerry Seinfeld, and Ricky Gervais. Did you see that one?
No.
It was like from 2011. It was an HBO special, and he and Ricky Gervais used the N-word with Chris Rock there. Mm-hmm. Once again, it was 2011. It was a little bit different, right? But
was
Jerry
so
Seinfeld,
different.
it was a different time.
even in 2011, though, Jerry Seinfeld was like, I don't think you
Should say that.
should say that. And so he gets a bunch of props for not saying it, but it surfaced as this clip that almost just happened, and then so it had
Oh,
to be
yeah.
like explained to everybody, no, this was 7 years ago,
Well, regardless,
then.
and now he's made a joke, and it was like an underground comedy club where they practice their material
Look,
before they go out. But someone
If you're
recorded
Louis
it.
C.K., you should know you're always being recorded.
Yeah, and he made a joke about the Parkland high school shooting.
What did he say? Do you have it up?
Oh, I did. Something to the extent of you think that you're smart because you were in a high school shooting, or I don't know. You pull it up if you can.
All right, yeah, I'll find it.
I had not heard of that one.
Oh, then if Ethan hasn't heard it, then we got to say, let's see.
All the other stuff I'm familiar with. This new quote,
Well,
no.
Spencer, you did comedy for a bit, so I want to ask you this.
Did you really?
A little. Not.
He dabbled.
Yeah.
Nice.
I started, and then I don't know. We should do it again, but I keep forgetting.
He dabbled.
All right.
When he first started coming back, people were like, "What is he doing?" You know,
Right.
and other comics came to his defense, saying, "Well, the man's got to work."
Yeah.
I want to hear what your opinion is of that.
Well, I mean, as big as he is, I don't know. I just think that I don't know. I mean, obviously, I'm not his accountant, but I would imagine with all the residuals and whatnot that he probably has enough money to chill out for a little bit and maybe do writing or something, write for some TV shows, do some stuff that I don't think he needs to get back and do stand up.
You don't need to be on a stage.
I don't think so.
Well, you don't need to be in the spotlight.
What?
You don't need to be in the spotlight.
Right.
I agree. He could easily be writing.
And yeah,
using his
I mean,
talents.
a lot of comics. That's what they do more of. You don't even know it. They're just writing on TV shows, and their name just flashes, and you don't even notice it.
Right.
But I think I just think that he should have been smarter and held back and not done anything. Just why? Why does he?
See, because when I first heard that defense, which was he deserves to work,
Uh-huh.
I was with it. I was like, that's true. It's his job. And then, as I thought about it more, I was like, doesn't he have like $60 million?
Yeah,
Isn't he
he's
worth?
got to have a lot of money. He's got to have residuals from his TV shows,
Yeah.
stand-up specials,
Just-
and he probably has done writing and has residuals
Move-
from that.
Yeah,
and
move
he could
to like St. Martin, man, and just
yeah
be done. Anyway,
focus on raising your kids maybe for a little bit and just stay out of the spotlight.
So I did listen to the actual audio clip.
Did you?
And it was comedy.
Uh-huh.
And I'm not going to deliver it the same as Louis.
Right.
But here's what he said. He's referencing the Parkland survivor kids testifying in Congress.
Right.
Okay. He says, testify in front of Congress, these kids, what the fuck? Because you went to a high school where kids got shot. Why does that mean I have to listen to you? Why does that make you interesting? You didn't get shot. You pushed some fat kid in the way, and now I got to listen to you talking? Yeah.
I'd have to hear him deliver it, but it just doesn't seem like a funny joke. And I know that he's just working material, so...
And that...
But...
15 years ago, that was his shtick.
Yeah.
Was saying stuff like that.
But...
Like the C word was his go-to word.
Right.
You know? Like, he was the one comedian that would say it.
Right.
He didn't care about offending anybody.
Yeah, he was pretty...
That's how he made his mark.
But,
you know?
can you do that anymore?
I don't think you can.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted... You did comedy. Both of us watch a lot of it.
I
We're
know.
into it.
I know that I've heard that a lot of comedians they don't like to go to colleges anymore because people are so ultra sensitive there. They hate it. I think it was Jerry Seinfeld that said that he doesn't like to go to do colleges, and he doesn't anymore.
It's like the crazy end of liberals. But Seinfeld's clean and he's just observational. Like
yeah.
And like Seinfeld talks about, if you listen to him like on Joe Rogan and stuff, he
Uh-huh.
talks about how hard it is to do clean comedy, and that not doing clean comedy is a lot easier.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You
That's
know?
why I like clean comedy better. It's way more funny.
It's funny, they clearly had to work the jokes out
Right.
longer.
Yeah, it's definitely more creative.
Yeah. So I mean, like, it's why Jim Gaffigan, Brian Regan, all these guys are great.
Yeah, I think they're way more funny than. I mean, Patton Oswalt, he's really funny. He's not really clean, but he's definitely
He's an
around the
in-betweener.
same there.
Yeah.
Louis C.K. is I guess he's funny because it's so.
He has always taken the edge of what's appropriate and pushed it.
Right.
And now
I don't-
appropriateness has been shrunk down to like 1/20th of what it used to be.
Right.
And so the question is, where does this end?
I don't know.
You know,
Where does the political correctness end?
Yeah. I don't know, because from an empathetic standpoint, it's the stupidest thing to say. Of course, first of all, you're wrong.
Right.
They had an experience that gives them qualifications to testify in front of Congress.
Absolutely.
If I landed
Right.
on the moon,
Right.
and held moon rocks and walked on it and lifted off from it, and the Congress wanted to know how I did it,
Right.
then I'm the best person to talk to.
Right.
You know, so no, these guys experience something that should give insight to lawmakers when it comes to how to protect children.
Right.
So
Well,
he's wrong in the joke. And maybe that's more of it. Like, no, you're just wrong, dude. Like, is it so much the push the fat kid thing? Like,
I don't know. I just don't. I guess I need to hear the clip, but it just doesn't seem funny.
maybe we can find the audio.
It doesn't seem funny at all. Like it's
It really
just like,
doesn't, yeah.
Whoa, dude.
Yeah, I mean, it's when you hear the audio, it just sounds like classic Louis C.K.
I mean, I don't
Which is
even
always hit your ears wrong.
Right. And I don't know that I'm offended in any way, but I'm like, it's not funny.
It feels a
just
bit
not funny.
insensitive.
It's like a weird, just a kind of a dick thing to say.
Maybe it's because they're kids.
Maybe, but I mean, just school shootings in general aren't
Yeah.
really like a funny thing to joke about.
Yeah.
It's considering how the frequency of, well, I don't know.
And this is super sensitive.
I don't know because
Like-
South Park this season, I think we talked about it in a minute, but that was like their shtick the whole season
Right.
was school shootings. And the first episode, there's a school shooting, like 3 of them. And throughout the season, there's just always shooters in the
Right.
school. The kids are just walking around or
And
bullets are
somehow
flying
they
around.
get away with it without all of this. What are their names?
Matt and Trey Parker.
Matt and Trey.
Matt Stone, Trey Parker.
You know, I don't know. You know, Ethan, so as of this recording, we haven't released episode 23 yet,
Right.
which is extensively about Parkland and the failures there. So it's really, really salient right now for me and Spencer because we hear this joke and we're like, oh,
Yeah, that's probably
dick.
true.
Right.
You know what the difference might be with South Park is they're not mocking the school shootings. Like this Louis
They're not mocking
CK is mocking the victims.
The victims.
The South Park guys are mocking the situation, our reactions, or our underreactions to it.
Right.
They're mocking the fact that it's happening so much that it's, the kids don't even care anymore.
It's been normalized.
It's normalized. I guess that's the difference.
So let's take a step back for just a second because I want to talk about what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
Which is picking apart a comedian's bit.
Right.
Right? That he was clearly testing in a small club, albeit he should know that he was being recorded.
Right.
Is that what comedy is about? About picking apart jokes?
Well, it's hard to say. Nothing really should be off limits in comedy.
That's the point.
And I see that's where you're going.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there have been so many shootings in so many different arenas over the last 10 years that it's like, sometimes I wonder,
10
like,
years?
am I going to go to the grocery
Like
store
the
today
last
and have to
year.
worry about a guy walking in with a gun?
No.
And that to me is like too serious to joke about at this point in time, I think.
No, it's true. Every public event I go to, I wonder,
Is someone going to pop out with a gun and just start mowing people down?
can I...
That's a terrible thing to say. I shouldn't
Well,
say it that
it's-
way, but
this-
it's
well,
true, though.
I think that's the FBI. They tell you to think like that. I
Right.
mean, like you should be thinking about exits and
I mean, I have kids in school now, too. And so maybe that
Right.
makes it even more salient, where I'm like, do I really want to joke about a school shooter when my kids are in school and there could definitely be a school shooter there?
Yeah.
Like, and I live in Colorado where there's been multiple shootings of this
multiple.
type.
Right.
And it's, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean...
Maybe it
it's
just hits a
scary.
little too close.
I have a story,
okay.
and this is tough to... I don't... It's not a joke. But, so I was at the light parade for Ogden.
Okay.
And there were thousands of people. It was packed.
When was
this?
this?
Was like right before Christmas when they were lighting the tree. So
Okay.
probably day after Thanksgiving, right around there.
Okay.
They were lighting the whole village up
Yeah.
and in Ogden, and they have a light parade on
Yeah,
Washington.
okay.
It's huge. I couldn't believe how many people came out.
Is this the same place where the
Yes, where someone was shot by the police a
Yeah.
few days later.
Okay.
Yeah. No one was hurt except for the man who was a kidnapper.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
should be
it's
noted.
fine. Yeah, yeah. Anyway.
So I was sit at the parade with Ashley and Quinn and my mother-in-law and grandmother-in-law, and I could not believe the turnout. I thought it was fantastic. It made me like proud of my community, you know. But as I'm sitting in the, I have Quinn on my shoulders to see the lights and everything, and I put her down eventually, and I kind of look to my right, and I see a group of men like huddled around each other. There's like 4 or 5 of them. Just kind of huddled around each other in a circle, standing kind of behind the crowd, looking at something in their hands. And my first thought was, what the hell? What are you guys doing?
right.
Why aren't you watching the parade? Like, it sketched me out, and I kind of look, I glance around at other people's eyes that are behind them that are facing the street, you know, because I was up at the front, and all of them are kind of like peering, trying to see what's going on. You know, eyes are darting, and you know, like they had couple of them had backpacks on. This is a light parade, so it was like 7 o'clock at night. So I was just like, why are you huddled around not watching the parade? Why do you have backpacks? What's in your hands? You know what I mean? And I hate that.
You should never have to think about that.
No,
Yeah.
but we do now.
Right.
Yeah.
Like we talked about, like,
Yeah,
it's sad that we have to teach our kids about hard corners.
Yeah.
You know,
And I think it's stuff like that. That's the reason why people don't tell, you know, you're supposed to see something, say something. That's
Right.
why people don't, because maybe they don't want to have to think about it. They don't want to see a group and think, what is this? You know, like this can't really be what's going on, but it could be.
Well, and especially
and so you don't want to say anything because it's like I don't.
have you?
Well, and you're going to cause mass pandemonium in a
Right.
place like that.
Yeah, if you're like, "Hey!"
I think that guy has a gun.
Yeah, yeah,
And
I
it's
mean-
just a group of teenagers playing hacky sack or something.
right. Yeah.
Or watching whatever
They
sport
have, like,
game
a
is on.
porno mag or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, have either of you had an experience where you've wanted to say something and didn't, or you wanted to say something and you did? Like you went and told like an usher or a security guard or anything, police officer?
I don't think so.
No.
I haven't either, which is,
I don't think
I guess,
so.
good news. You know,
I mean, I think about it, but I can't say I've ever had an actual experience.
you've never had
Like
one
that.
Have I
Yeah.
been sitting on a plane and seen a guy of Middle Eastern descent walk by and think to myself, yeah, I have, if I'm being completely honest.
You like put your hand over your neck for a second?
No,
just in case he has a
I
box
don't want to
covers?
think about it, but it's like, it just happens. It's
It's
like,
profiling, and Ethan
I
and
mean, it
both-
is what it is.
We both studied psychology.
Right. I mean, so to some degree, that's very natural and expected.
Right. It is. It's very normal. The question about racism is what you do after that thought enters your head.
Right.
You know, that's where racism starts and ends. Is the initial thought comes in, who's that?
Yeah.
He's different than me.
right.
He's also of the same color, creed, religion of the 9/11 guys, you know? But it's what you do after the fact.
Right.
Of not, you know, saying something to him, calling him a slur like we've seen video of,
Right.
you know? But on the other hand, we've had multiple instances where white people have called the police on black people for nothing.
That's been happening a lot. Well, and a part of me wonder, I mean, it's been happening a lot, but it probably has been happening a lot for a long time.
We just have
don't
cell
hear
phones now.
about it.
Yeah, now it's we're aware of that.
Yeah.
Right.
That's tough. So in terms of, to bring this full circle, you know, we're picking apart comedians' jokes. And at what point are we ever going to be able to say again, it's a joke?
I don't know.
That's scary to me as someone who likes comedy,
Right.
who has wanted to get into comedy. You've done comedy. It's scary to think that I might have to go to What's with Airplane Food. You know?
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a good bit there.
Seinfeld took it. You know?
Of course he did.
Every comedian has an airplane
true.
skit. I can't think of one that doesn't.
Anyway, it's food for thought that when you hear this stuff, and you can certainly judge it by the man who said it, and you're like, okay, that's Louis C.K. He should probably just shut up.
Well, I'm not
Like,
going to...
would we feel different about Louis C.K. if he didn't get in trouble for Me Too and said this?
Probably. I think that just put
Yeah.
a bad taste in my mouth for him,
Yeah, I
I
don't
guess,
know.
just overall. But I think I'm not going to condemn him for it because I think he's just trying out material. But what I will do
He'll
is...
probably do it, though. You
I
realize that.
don't think he will. I think he's going to go away again. I think he's going to have to.
Not if he's all about the shock value.
I just think that...
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
What I will criticize him on is coming back to begin with. It feels like he should be smart enough or have people around him smart enough to say, hey, just go away for a couple of years. Like,
Well,
people will stop hating you if you just go away
Right.
and then come back.
I think it was his Twitter post, Me Too,
Uh-huh.
when he got called out. He said, I've been doing a lot of talking. I'm going to step back and start listening.
Right.
And that only lasted, 6 months?
Right. I mean, I guess if he's hard up for cash, but I just
No,
can't.
he's not
I
hard
can't
up for
imagine
cash.
that he
had-
is.
None of his were lawsuits. None of them were settled. He
Right.
admitted to it. The women said, yes, that was awful, and it was clearly an abuse of his position.
Right.
You know? So, anyway.
I don't think it's finances that are driving a guy like that, though. It's.
No,
I mean, he's the
loves
type of
comedy.
guy that wants to be in the spotlight,
Right.
and he wants to say stuff like that, and
Comedy-
he wants the shock.
If you go back and watch, if you YouTube old Louis C.K.,
Yeah.
he's terrible. Terrible. So this is a guy who loves comedy so much that he sucked at it really bad. And he didn't break through until he was like, I don't know how old Louis was, 40?
Yeah.
You know, that's a long time to be doing comedy. He probably started when he was 18.
Right.
So,
Well, okay, we're going to go ahead and we'll take our break here. When we come back, we will be doing random headlines. I have got 3 or 4 of them for you today. We also are going to have Ask a Doctor.
yeah.
So I can finally ask Ethan about this rash on my balls.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
He's shown me so
I'm
many
really
times.
excited.
He sends me pictures in the middle of the night.
In the middle of the night. Yeah, so when we come back, we got pranks, Harry Potter, and Brian Spoons with a dolphin.
So, Doctor, is Peter healthy?
My goodness, you'll be dead within a month.
What?
Oh, Hagar the Horrible, if you keep up that lifestyle of pillaging and giant turkey legs, you'll be dead within a month. Now, on to you.
So, what do you think? Pretty healthy, huh?
Well, Mr. Griffin, let's take a look at your physical results. Ah! There's a spider in here. Now, here we go. Mr. Griffin, you're going to expire in a month. This is your driver's license, isn't it? Now, unfortunately, I'm afraid you're going to die. When you watch these Dean Martin celebrity roasts.
Will you just tell us how Peter's health is?
Mr. Griffin, I'm not quite sure how to say this. Kim Basinger? 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 Oh. But now, on to the cancer.
Oh, my God.
You are a Cancer, right? You were born in July? Now, on to these test results. My, they're much worse than I thought. My son got a D- on his history test. Now, Mr. Griffin, that liver's got to come out.
What?
It's been in the microwave for 3 minutes. It'll get dry. Now.
Please. Please. We can't take any more stick. Please just tell us, is Peter healthy?
Oh, yeah, he's fine. He's just really fat.
Oh, thank God.
Wait, hang on a second. Did you just say I was fat?
We interrupt your regularly scheduled program to bring you these random headlines.
Random headlines.
What you got?
First of the new year. Oh my gosh, I've got some decent ones. I'm not going to say good, but
So, you could tune out.
yeah.
But guess what? We're having Ask a Doctor after that, so you might as well listen.
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Hit that 15-second forward a few times.
My first one is breaking news out of England.
Okay.
Yes, J.K. Rowling does have a favorite Harry Potter character.
Bum, bum, bum.
Okay.
I know.
Do you have a guess? Ethan's, are you really into Harry Potter?
I mean, I like it as much as the next guy.
I
I've read the books once.
I've never read the books.
I don't read books. They made movies. Why would I read the
Of all
books?
books, though, you should read those.
All books.
Well, let's not go that far. I guess that's a lot.
I've heard the books are amazing.
They really are good.
But I haven't read any of them. I haven't even seen all the movies.
I loaned you a book
Really?
for like 12 years and you never
I
read
just
it.
got it back to you.
I know.
Yeah.
Without ever having been read.
The Sphere. I tried, man. If a book doesn't grab me in like the first 1 to 2 paragraphs, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I'm just not a big fiction reader. I read more like nonfiction stuff.
So
I'm sorry, Spencer.
Sorry, go ahead.
no, guess.
Oh,
Guesses. Who's your favorite character?
Snape.
I would think naturally Harry Potter.
No,
Dumbledore.
Yeah, it's Dumbledore.
Dumbledore is how I say it.
Dumbledore.
It's like you ever heard people say? Do you know the rapper that starts with Mac?
Macklemore?
Yeah, how do you say it?
Macklemore.
Macklemore.
Is that how you say it?
Some people say Macklemore, and some people say Macklemore.
Oh,
I say Macklemore.
What about Dumbledore?
Dumbledore.
I don't say Dumbledore.
Dumbledore.
Technically, it should be Dumbledore.
I guess so. Dumbledore. Anyway, that's her favorite character.
Dumbledore.
That's from J.K. Rowling herself.
Well,
the billionaire.
What's the justification?
Is she writing all of the other movies that are coming out?
I don't know. Hopefully
and
not,
a
because
lot
the
of
last
them-
one sucked.
She has her hand in the pot.
A lot of them center around him. Jude Law plays him,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. At least that's
Yeah,
from the
she
trailers.
wrote the last one, and it didn't do great. Everyone
I remember when they
Some
kicked her
people
off the
should
set.
probably stick to books and not screenplays because they are different. And
I don't think she's writing screenplays.
she did. She wrote the screenplay for the last one.
Oh, did she? Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's why it sucked.
Is that what you just said?
In so many words, yeah.
I thought you just said she wrote it.
Wait, I want to know why Dumbledore is the favorite character.
It says. I don't know. She
Now,
just
I could be
says,
wrong.
Besides Harry, who's your favorite character? And she says Dumbledore. That's all she said. Just because he's the most beloved character, I guess, because he's gay.
That's what I was just going to say.
I don't know.
I mean, maybe it's...
Wait, Dumbledore's gay?
Wait, you didn't hear this?
You really didn't know that?
Oh, this was like a big controversy a while back when she announced this.
She's just, which is kind of weird.
Well, that's bullshit. I'm never reading it.
Oh, come on.
Just kidding.
I just think it was kind of weird that she's like, oh yeah, BT Dub, he's gay. So like,
yeah, I don't remember what the context was.
Like, I don't know why that's super relevant, but
alienated like half the fan base, probably.
Oh, for sure.
Unfortunately.
For sure.
That's stupid.
Yeah.
If it alienates people.
No, I don't know. Yeah.
Like, do people stop watching Jodie Foster movies when they found out?
When they found out what?
That she's gay.
That she's an alien?
What?
Or I don't.
That she's an alien. Yeah, Jodie Foster's gay.
Well, I didn't even know that.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, moving on. We're still,
I'll still watch
we're
Maverick.
talking about fantasy stuff here. If you gave your mother this picture for Christmas, what do you think she would think? Would she put it on her wall, and who do you think that...
My mom would be like, that's not Jesus. Who is that? She wouldn't know who it is.
Right.
But she wouldn't be
I
like...
think my mom...
She'd be like, thanks, but who is this? I'd be like, oh, it's the new version.
So...
My mom would just say it was a bad picture of him.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, so your mom would be like, okay, I see what they're going for, but that's not him.
Right. So this is actually out of Utah.
Should we tell people what we're looking at?
Yeah. This is out of Utah, where a guy gave his mom a Christmas present and prefaced it
like
as
an oil
being
painting.
it's a painting.
Oil on canvas.
And he said it was
Nicely framed.
a painting of Jesus.
Yeah. Looks very similar to probably the one that most of the world is familiar with.
In reality...
Red robes and...
Yeah, for sure.
I'm having a hard time saying it's similar when I'm...
Well, I know.
I mean,
I'm just looking at like because he's wearing his Jedi robe with white, like canvas.
He jumped the punchline.
He did.
Oh,
yeah.
What? I'm sorry.
It's okay. So it's Obi-Wan.
Oh.
It's not Jesus.
It's Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah.
Young Obi-Wan.
No, it's Samuel L. Jackson's character. No, what's his name?
Yeah, it's
You
Yoda.
don't see race, clearly.
It's Yoda.
Well, Jesus was Middle Eastern. He's probably darker than we. Anyway,
yeah,
that's
whatever.
completely
Anyway,
That's a
so
different-
I guess this mom thought it was legit and put it on the wall and everything, and he doesn't know how to break it to her that it's not Jesus.
He hasn't. Well, I mean,
I don't know. As of
she
this
reads the
story,
news.
He didn't. But
This is on the Insider.
Yeah, it's several places, but yeah.
I mean, I was wondering how far it went.
But there was a YouTube video of her reaction, and he took it down. It's gone.
Oh,
so I
she
think
was
he's
probably
like
embarrassed.
he's embarrassed or thinks he's going to hell or something.
He's probably getting excommunicated.
Yeah, he's gonna have a meeting with the prophet here. We understand that you
Ewan McGregor does not affiliate with any denomination.
Who's to say he doesn't look like him, though?
He does.
This
that particular painting.
I think you could sell this in a religious store.
Yeah.
And people would buy it and not even know.
In Seagull Book.
And I would laugh.
Probably true.
That would be hilarious.
Yeah, all they need to, if I may, they just need to redden up their Jedi robe just a touch.
Oh yeah.
And maybe his beard just a little bit. But other than that, yeah, it could pass.
Yeah, I see it.
I wonder where he got it. Did he paint it?
Maybe.
I want to know what Ewan McGregor's reaction is to this.
Yeah.
I would like to see that.
What if
Because
he
I've
said
never
something?
seen that picture.
He's like,
before.
I am Jesus. Oh.
How dare you take my picture?
We didn't know that.
Like, I'm not saying that I've looked at a lot of Ewan McGregor pictures. I'm not saying that.
I have.
But I've never seen that picture.
No, I don't know. It might be a painting, or it kind of looks like it's a photoshopped
Yeah.
to to look. I don't know,
like an app.
Yeah.
That
Well,
turned it
no,
into
you can
oils?
kind of do like this in Illustrator and Photoshop and make it look like it's a painting.
No one went to that.
I have to say though, he does look kind of smug. Like maybe he knows that he's being mistaken.
Yeah, you're right.
You think I'm Jesus, don't you? It is beautifully framed. I think you mentioned that. Yeah,
It is
That
nice.
is a very nice frame.
There's probably like a $400
hard to get rid of that
frame.
no matter who it is.
Yeah.
So, we were talking about investing earlier, and on MSN Money here, they list some actual things that you can invest in that you might not be aware of. It's the title is From Masterpieces to the Moon: Amazing Things You Can Buy Shares in. One of the things is a man's life. Should Mike Merrill get a vasectomy, cut out coffee, and if you join his board of nearly 1,000 advisors, you can decide for $5.11 a share. Merrill had his IPO
it's like
in
people
2008 with 100,000 shares of $1 each.
It's the year of the IPO.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard that.
No, I
Many
didn't know.
companies that are probably going public, like Uber and stuff.
Oh, yeah. So a share in Mike Merrill can vary wildly in price, dropping as low as 99 cents and as high as $18. Would-be investors can buy and vote at kmikeym.com.
I don't know why you're giving people all this info.
Yeah, so I'm just saying,
Some people want to invest.
He's a sponsor.
If you want to invest in Mike's life, it's completely random, but hey,
Look, you're the money shuffling man. This is like right up your
Do
alley.
a personal IPO. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
yeah, why not?
A PIPO.
You can invest in whiskey,
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Well, I'm interested in the moon one.
a pixel. In 2005, 20-year-old British student Alex Tu hit upon a simple idea to make him a millionaire that worked. With a $50 investment, he built a $1 million homepage selling 1 million pixels off for $1. I hate this guy. I hate him.
That's
You just are
Wait a
sad you didn't
second.
think of that first.
Who would think of that?
What does it look like?
That's fair. I don't know.
This is nonsense.
Just
The
nonsense.
$1 million homepage.
That's crazy.
So you
That's a
buy
crazy-
pixels of it?
I guess
Just copy him, man.
it's
Doesn't matter if it's done.
been done.
It doesn't matter.
Make a better picture.
You know what else has been done?
Huh.
Tesla. And you think they're going out of business.
They
So
are.
I'm just saying you could do it.
They are.
Let's do it.
I'm trying to find the moon one.
You can invest in the Artake Podcast.
Yeah.
At the Artake Pod on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. You can pay us right there through Venmo.
Are you an IPO yet?
We're always an IPO.
Sure, yeah.
All right.
They're trading at $5 a share
So
right now.
the bargain price of around $30 will buy you a 1-acre lunar plot at Moon Estates.
Wait, how much?
Wait, I'll totally do that.
It says
How much is
$30.
that? What?
Will buy you a 1-acre lunar plot.
Click
how-
on that link.
I want one.
I will
it's just-
totally buy that.
You
Moon
know that's
Estates.
only going to go up in value.
It's real estate.
It is real estate. You can never go wrong with real estate.
You're like 30 years from now, people are asking, what you invested in? Well, I've got like 40 acres on the moon.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's rad. But I don't. Who owns the moon to be able to do this?
that's what I've
You
always
can.
wondered, because we
For
were
$30.
the U.S. landed on the moon. We put our flag there. Does that mean we own the moon?
It's not. It's.
Is it a U.S. territory?
No, it's like international waters.
It is. Maritime laws apply.
I don't know, man.
But I am really. I don't understand it.
That's way cheaper than I thought it would be.
I know, right?
I mean, eventually we're going to colonize the moon. Come on.
Having the certificate framed will cost you almost as much for another $21.52. For $108, you can purchase 10 acres of land on the moon,
What?
Mars, or Venus. This is ridiculous.
Wait, who is doing this? Like, who is upholding these purchases?
right. Like
Apparently, Tom Cruise, Tom Hanks, and George Lucas are set to be among the 6 million plus investors
6 million. How much is
in
left?
planetary real estate. Yeah, I know.
I would totally spend $108 on
There's-
10 acres on the moon.
Guess what though?
Absolutely.
There's no ocean, so it's all land. It's all land.
That's true. There's no oceanside property,
So
though.
if
There's-
someone were to
there's-
land on my spot, like if I owned the Sea of Tranquility,
Right.
do they have to pay me?
Probably.
Like,
the,
I could-
the land rights,
like
the oil
Monopoly?
rights.
It's like Monopoly, man. I put a hotel there.
Yeah, probably.
Lunar deed.
Yeah. Moon,
I mean,
Moon Estates.
I've spent $108 on stupider things.
Wendy's.
I have too.
Sure. Over the course of the last year, I probably spent that much on Wendy's.
The last month.
Well, yesterday, tonight for dinner.
Let's call it the last
Really
10,
hungry.
last 10 days.
All right. The last story here, and be warned, this one comes with a question at the end. Couple gets married the same day they met after matching on dating app.
It literally gave me the heebie-jeebies.
Ballsy.
Yeah.
So a couple in England wasted no time making their love official.
Always in England.
Sarah Edwards, who lives in Kent but is from New Zealand, and Paul Edwards matched on Bumble, a dating app, just over a week before spontaneously tying the knot in Las Vegas. So,
by the way, it's pronounced Kent.
Okay.
You can't just say it the normal way.
I didn't know.
Kent.
So they.
I wish you could see his face.
It's a podcast.
He even rose his finger, like it's very
Kent.
So they met on the app, and a week later they met in person in Las Vegas, and then got married.
Wow.
Now
wait. Hang on just a second.
Okay.
They matched on the app.
Yes.
1 week later, they met in Vegas and got married.
Correct.
So it's not even like they talked on the app for a bit.
Well, I'm sure they did.
It doesn't say.
That's kind of lost in the.
But for a week, it said they met on the app, and then for a week later.
Right.
So they talked for a week.
Right.
That's still crazy.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're in Utah here, and I've known people who've gotten married. Actually, I do know someone that got married within like a month. Or maybe less, but
it's old timey. It's weird.
That does happen occasionally. How long, Brian? How long did you date Ashley before you got married?
I proposed on our 1 year.
1 year. What about you, Ethan?
We got married after a year.
Yeah, I dated Mandy for 2 years before we got married. So I guess maybe if I would have
done it earlier, it would have ended.
Would have lasted
or
longer.
if she wasn't a crazy bitch. But anyway,
does she listen to this?
Oh,
Kent.
But here's my question.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a pretty heavy question.
Why haven't you joined Bumble?
I have.
Okay.
But
never mind.
it's stupid.
Go on.
They look at me and they're like, "Oh, you're gross," and
No
you have no
matches.
money. Yeah, basically.
You podcast? No matches. Sorry.
Yeah, I know. Here's my question for both of you, because I'm already divorced. So, if you had gotten married within a month of meeting your current spouse, do you think your marriage would turn out the same as it is now?
Go ahead.
I mean, I'd have to say yes. I mean, I figure if it's successful now, I don't know why it would have been any different otherwise. But I have no idea.
I'm not going to answer it yet, but I just want to play devil's advocate counterpoint here.
Sure, go for it.
Some roadblocks that happen in a marriage are easily overcome because of the time put in.
Yeah, I mean, you get to know each other.
You know, it's like hitting a speed bump at 0 versus hitting a speed bump while you're kind of cruising.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a really good analogy.
Yeah, no, it was good.
I feel really
that was
warm.
Yeah.
I will say this though. I mean, I pretty much knew that I was going to marry Ashley. Like when I met her. So, yeah, I probably.
You're gonna have to say, yeah. I mean, Steph and I knew we were gonna get married after about 3 months of dating.
Yeah.
Like
So,
it actually
yeah.
came up in conversation. We knew we were going to.
I knew you guys were going to get married. Like,
that's nice of you to say.
Yeah.
All right. Just food for thought.
Do you?
Do I? I think
That's
I would.
tough.
I think I would still be divorced.
That's a tougher question
because
for you.
it wasn't really.
It was something.
It really wasn't up to me. It was more just I'm leaving. Oh, okay.
See, but I mean that just brings around the point that if it was going to work out anyway,
That's
would it
true.
really not have worked out if you'd have gotten married earlier?
That's true. I just know, and not even personally, I just know that some people hit speed bumps early in a marriage. That if they hit that speed bump dating, they might be able to kind of like,
I don't know, but more's on the line when you're married. You have more motivation to
That's true.
keep it together.
You think? You would think.
I mean, I'm not trying to be offensive.
Look, Spencer's case is anecdotal. It's awful. Yeah.
We can talk about it later.
No,
we're on the podcast. That's why we talk about it now.
Well, I was going to ask about your divorce, but I figured you probably didn't want to air that all over the place.
So she just left.
Yep.
She just kind of left. That was it.
It's led to great things, though.
Like the Our Take podcast.
Yeah.
And Rejected Takeoff.
Yeah.
That's
Number
fair.
1 selling band in Ogden.
In this square foot of
We might be the number 1 selling band in Ogden.
I doubt
there
it.
might be some
There's
Mexican,
probably other
like church band that sells records.
Are there really a lot of church bands?
What are
now?
they going to be?
Oh yeah,
Really?
I met a guy the other day. Played guitar. I'm like, where do you play guitar? At my church. I'm like, oh, that's rad.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Can I
When
just play drums?
When I was looking,
Didn't know they were around.
I was looking to how to hook up in-ear monitors, and everything that came up was church bands. If you want to be able to
Like a how-to?
rock at your worship, this is. I'm like, oh, I
really
don't
think-
necessarily want to do that,
I think,
but
I think
okay.
there's a lot of church bands, man.
There are in Texas for sure.
Well,
There's
yeah.
like
Yeah.
Baptists, but man, they rock.
Yeah.
They rock at their services.
I just didn't know that was a
way
thing
more
here now.
entertaining
And
than
they were,
LDS
they
services.
Been
were,
out of the state
they were
too long.
Hispanic, so maybe it's also a kind of a Latino thing. I don't know.
They do like their music,
Yeah,
but it's usually mariachi.
yeah, Bond.
Mariachi. I don't. That's not what it.
Well, not in the church. I'm just.
No, but I know
That sounds racist yet again.
No, I mean it's not. No, there's nothing wrong with it. You know?
No, I'm not saying it's
I
bad.
love mariachi. If you go in my car, I'm listening to it right now. It's most of my Apple Music. Oh.
Really?
Do you have a costume in your
Oh
trunk?
man.
Yeah, it's not a costume though, Ethan. It's a real.
There it is. Racism again.
Not
Call it
Unintentional.
a costume.
Oh.
Uniform.
All right. So that was random headlines. We're
Yeah.
moving on. Do you recognize this?
Sounds
ER.
like X-Files.
That's ER, dude.
Is that ER? I don't know.
It's for you.
I have no idea.
I love it.
Like it tells you how many medical shows I watched.
remember that beat hitting.
It's got a nice little bass riff in the back.
Remember the black guy did like the punch?
Yeah.
It shows
yeah.
It shows George Clooney like throwing a clipboard.
Yeah.
Have you really watched this?
ER?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's an old show now.
Oh, I watched it back in the day.
It was on
It's
forever.
like I'm watching it on Hulu right now.
You could.
I
think you could actually.
I'm sure you could.
Is it what's been on longer,
Grey's
ER
Anatomy.
or Grey's
I
Anatomy?
think Grey's beat him.
Ooh, I
Because
don't
it's
know.
still on, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like at 15, 16
That's
seasons.
insane.
Yeah,
How-
everyone's dead
Yeah, everyone is long dead.
except for Meredith Grey.
That's why the show is stupid.
She's on what, her, like,
that's
fourth
not
marriage?
how life works. People don't just like the cat. The
Maybe it does in hospitals. I don't know.
Your coworkers just die. How many of your coworkers like? Yeah, it's not the same group. They didn't leave. They died.
And they always die in the craziest of circumstances.
Huh?
Like a
Isn't that
getting
sack?
shot in the hospital.
Back
or
in the 90s.
I thought it was a plane crash where most of
helicopter
them died.
crash. Yeah.
back
plane.
in the 90s when the sax was huge because of Clinton.
Yeah, you'll be interested to know that was actually William Jefferson Clinton
Really?
playing the saxophone for this piece.
Are you?
Why are you holding on to that piece of information?
I'm just kidding, man.
Okay.
It
I was
very
like-
well could be.
I don't
the
know.
man could play the sax.
I
What was he
know.
on the Arsenio Hall show?
Yeah.
Yeah, he killed it. Look it up. That's won him the election.
So we have our new segment, Ask a Doctor or Doc Talk or whatever we want to call it.
Doc Talk.
Doc.
Has anybody taken that?
I'm sure they have.
Wait a second. I'm Googling that right now.
Careful, don't Google Doc Cock because I went down that
Talk.
rabbit hole earlier today.
You did it on purpose.
Whoops, a typo.
It's a TV program, but it's not a podcast.
Doc Cock is?
No. Doc Talk.
Oh.
Pick up that IPO right now.
Yeah. Get the domain.
Anyway,
the domain.
I want to know something from a doctor.
Okay.
Keto.
All right.
The diet?
What are your thoughts?
Will you explain what the diet is first? I don't remember.
You're putting your body into ketosis.
Right.
Which is?
Can you
Go ahead.
expound?
I mean, you're basically putting your body into starvation mode, so they will basically feed off of fat for energy instead of carbohydrates.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So you're not eating any carbs.
I think that's the idea. I've
it's-
not done the keto
Is
diet
it like,
myself.
Is it like Atkins cubed? Like,
I guess you could look at it like that in a way.
what?
Here's my take on the keto diet.
Is that the one that the CrossFit people do?
Oh yeah,
I don't know.
And, like Joe Rogan's on it. Yeah,
It's all
It's
meat.
very
Is it the
popular.
caveman one?
sure.
I don't
Because
know.
they didn't have bread.
Well, I don't know.
They had dinosaur meat. That's all they had to eat.
and dirt.
Dinosaur eggs. Yeah.
I mean, my take is this. A lot of people try and do the keto diet by taking some of the general principles of the keto diet and applying it.
Sure.
But a true keto diet is done under the direction of a physician.
Okay.
Like, you need to have labs drawn on a regular basis so
Yeah.
that you can make sure your blood levels show
Well, I know
whatever.
I was listening to Joe Rogan, and apparently, like daily or multiple times a day, they pee on a strip and compare the color to make sure they're still in ketosis.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
it darker?
No, you'd be looking for ketones. You can detect ketones in the urine.
So it shows up on like a strip, like a pH strip?
Right. Like a normal urinalysis strip. They have these little colored cubes on there, and
you just dip it?
Based on the color, you can tell how many ketones are in there, basically.
Interesting.
Wow.
I don't know that it really works for the normal person who's just like off the street, like, I'm going to do the keto diet and not eat any carbs.
I do have a friend who's doing it, and I think he's down like 26 pounds.
When I diet, when I actually am doing it, which I'm obviously not right now, but hopefully tomorrow.
Just take the pepperoni off pizza.
I like to do fasting.
Like fast one every
what is it
3-4
called?
meals.
Yeah, intermittent fasting.
There's a lot of research behind that. That would be good.
There is, and it actually seems to work really well for me.
As long as the portion after your fast isn't double. Right, it still has to be a normal portion.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like if you would normally go get one Chick-fil-A combo after a fast, you don't get 2 Chick-fil-A combos.
Right. Well,
it would stand to reason. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you still can stay within a calorie budget, but
so you do both. You do the intermittent fasting with
like
a calorie
if my
budget.
calorie budget was like 1,800,
yeah,
then I would just fast till like 1 in the afternoon, and then not eat all 1,800 of them right then, but I could eat.
You might know this in terms of metabolism. I know I'm not a big breakfast guy.
All right.
You know, I do the horrible thing of like going and getting a dew.
Yeah.
But I notice when I do eat breakfast, I get hungrier faster. Like I'm ready for lunch earlier, and it's like painful hungry. Is it kicking my like rest and digest? Is it kicking my metabolism into gear when I eat early in the morning?
That's very well could be. To be honest, I don't know that I have the answer to that. I could give you an educated guess.
See, this is
why he's not a nutritionist.
This is why he's a good doctor, though. Because some doctors just bullshit you and tell you, yeah, that's right.
Sure.
You know, I had a drug rep in here, and he really likes this medicine.
But I mean, I don't know. I mean, your stomach has stretch receptors, and maybe just filling up your stomach makes it so that it shrinks back and your brain notices it. I have no idea. I have no idea, to be honest.
Is there a stretch receptor agonist? That would be like
to make it feel like you're full all the time?
Yeah. It'd be like a hunger suppressant.
There is
probably.
There's one that I took. It doesn't work like great though. I can't.
I wonder if
called.
that would be money. If you could come up with a stretch receptor agonist.
Yeah.
That somehow you could isolate it. It's going to get to the blood-brain barrier, and then you're dead. But anyway.
I mean, but to your original question about the diets, I mean, you're going to like land on a hot button that my wife has to hear about all the time. Diets drive me absolutely crazy.
Because what happens when you stop?
You're going to gain it all back. I mean, you should never be doing any diet, keto or intermittent fasting or anything, unless you feel like you can maintain that diet in the long run.
For the rest of your life.
If you were going to start a diet, you should ask yourself, can I keep this going for the rest of my life? And if the answer is no, you should probably not be doing it.
What about the ones that are designed to make you lose weight really quickly? Like lose 100 pounds in 6 months, and that's all you needed to do. Then, you could just like kind of like go half back? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I still don't know that that's healthy.
Right.
I don't know which diets those would be.
Right.
I still think you're better off just doing what is tried and true and where the research is, and
exercise.
That's exercising regularly and watching your diet, like calorie counting or whatever it is. Like if you want to eat a cupcake for lunch, great.
It's true. I used Fitbit once to I had a calorie budget. You know,
just count it.
Yeah, I ran a calorie deficit every day.
Yeah,
what is it? 3,000, something like 3,000 calories as a pound or something.
It could be.
It's something weird like that.
I think that's right.
Anyway,
information I'm sure I knew.
I was actually very successful doing that. It's tedious, you know.
It can be
and cumbersome. Anyway,
but hopefully after you'd done it for a while, you'd start to kind of get the feel of it. You wouldn't need to write down every calorie that you were eating.
Right. You can load favorites.
I'm really good at. I know what calories are for a lot of things.
Slice of pizza, 280.
Kind of, yeah.
Take off the pepperonis,
like
275.
I had a friend who would always ask me, like, how many calories is in this sandwich? And I'd be like, well, then I break it all down, and I'd normally be pretty freaking close.
What is that, rye? Or is that wheat?
It's true. You gotta.
What cut is that ham from?
Actually, bread doesn't really. It's all around the same. It's all like 100 plus a slice.
What is a hemorrhoid exactly?
Is that asking for a friend?
Asking for a friend.
I mean, it's basically a dilated blood vessel.
Good enough. All right, Spencer, you got anything?
If I had,
You don't want to go down that rabbit hole any further?
if I had a friend who had jock itch like constantly, what would he do?
What
to
is
make
all this
it go
asking
away?
for a friend?
Well, I've never had jock itch before.
Gold Bond, man.
Well, what if it's like to the
Persistent?
extent that you use the spray every day, but it still doesn't go away
So you're talking like you have an actual fungal infection there.
for years?
Your friend.
Yeah, I've never.
I mean, your friend has
Right.
the fungal infection,
How
obviously.
often does said friend bathe with soap?
daily.
Are we talking Irish Spring?
He assumes.
Or Dove?
What? I don't know. I don't shower with
You
it.
probably need a prescription cream.
Your friend probably needs a prescription cream.
Well, when my friend,
yes,
the
excuse me.
last time when my friend asked the doctor, they said that I need to have blood tests, and I said that.
yeah.
And I said I'll just
Are
spray.
you afraid of needles?
I hate it, dude. I passed out.
Look, if you can hold
You
out for like
serious?
6 months, you can come see me down the street.
Wait a
right?
second. You're like deathly afraid of a little needle?
I'm not deathly afraid, but I pass out, and I don't like to pass out.
At the sight of a needle, or the sight of the needle entering
No,
the
when
skin?
they start drawing the blood, I just
Why don't you just look away?
I don't know. I pass out. It's not like I don't look at it. It just happens.
Huh.
And then I can't drive home, and I'm all tired. And anyway,
weird,
not
man.
that it was me that had this issue,
Right.
but yeah.
Right, a friend.
What would be a fungal treatment? Is that steroids?
No, steroids will almost always make a fungal infection worse.
Oh,
You need, you need an antifungal cream.
So if they got to take like a swab and do a culture,
You could.
because if it was like a bacteria, which one would you use steroids for? Like a steroid cream. I had eczema on my feet growing up, and I'm pretty sure they gave me a steroid
I mean,
cream.
steroids are ultimately to take care of inflammation.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay.
They're like a really, really powerful
Yeah.
anti-inflammatory.
I had eczema on my feet for years as a kid, like from the age of 8 until 11, and my parents just thought it was athlete's foot. So we tried every different spray. We tried like Eucerin, everything. Finally, they took me to the doctor. He takes a little razor blade, cuts a little bit off, and like 2 hours later, he's like, "Here's this cream," and it went away, and never came back.
Oh, well, there you go.
My parents felt really bad about it.
Yeah.
But
I mean, you could take skin samples like that. Most of the time, a doctor's going to look at something and say, that looks like blah.
yeah.
I think you probably need this. And they'll probably try a couple things, and if those don't work, then they'll get a sample and check it out.
Okay. Well, there you go. You have anything else?
Yeah, I've got a whole list of questions here.
Oh,
Oh, no.
I did tell him
Yeah.
that we wanted to do.
Well, they're
this
not.
segment.
They're not questions. They're okay. So my first one is, why did you become a doctor? And bear in mind, there's a follow-up question to this. So maybe don't make it all about the money.
It's not.
No,
about
if
the
it
money
was
for
about the
Ethan.
money, I would not be a doctor.
Ethan's altruistic.
All right.
Anyway, but you can answer. Go ahead.
That is a tough question. I have honestly done a lot of soul searching about that particular answer for a long time because med school sucks. And residency is not that much better.
Can I say something though about
Yeah.
you? So I've known you since we were 15.
It's been a long, yeah.
15.
It's like
We're now
sophomores,
34, so that's
freshmen.
almost 20 years. And ever since then, you told me you were going to be a doctor.
Right.
And I was like, I'm gonna, make pizza.
I'm gonna be an astronaut.
Yeah.
I'm a fireman.
I mean,
Like-
it sounds cliche, but I have thought about being a doctor since I was a little kid.
His whole life, he's wanted to be a doctor, and the only reason I made it probably through my bachelor's degree was probably because of Ethan.
Oh.
Which I think I've said on this podcast. If you're going to college, go with a buddy.
I
Yeah, you did
could
say
not
that.
agree more.
Yeah. Anyway,
Or don't go to college. I don't know.
so I mean, yeah, I don't think it was ever about the money for you.
No, I mean, I think a lot of it's just, I think there's a lot of aspects to this, but the human body is very intriguing. I did want to help people. I wanted to have a job where I could actually do some good and feel like I was actually making a difference. This all sounds very cliche, but it's
No.
true regardless.
I love the
and I
female
think that's
form.
what I think that's why a lot of docs go. But at the same time, as I've thought about it more now, I'm like, you know what? No one could have stopped me from going to medical school. Nobody could have said anything that would have stopped me. And I think that's some amount of just like stubbornness in myself. Like I wanted to prove to myself that I could do it. And I don't think that's the core reason, but I think that plays a role. And I would dare say that probably plays a role with a lot of other physicians too.
And
Like,
you
you
didn't-
just want to be the best and you want to try and learn everything that you can because you want to do it.
You didn't have an easy road either. Like, it's working out.
It is working
But
out now.
You had 3 kids while in medical school. Well, while in college and then into medical school.
Yeah.
Moved out of state, moved to a different state. Like this, it was not an easy road for you.
No, and I didn't get into med school the first year I applied either.
Right. Which, that's why. That's why you kept going.
Was it because of your degree from Weber? Is that?
You suck. No, it's not. No, I didn't have a really
candidates.
good advisor when I was getting ready to go into medical school, and so I probably applied out of my league. And,
Well,
yeah.
if I remember right, too, correct me, I think you told me it was your graduating year nationally that there were more med school students than there were resident spots for the first time in like history.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Which was weird. I think it was because we were mid-recession, if I remember right.
Yeah, it
so
tipped over
everybody
some-
was like going back to school, and they chose to go to be doctors. So that means you were graduating from medical school, some people, to ready to go into residency, and you didn't get in. Can you imagine?
That happens.
I can't imagine that happening.
That would suck.
I mean, it used to be an environment where medical students would graduate and programs would court them.
Right.
And be like, please come here, let's take you out to dinner
We
and do
need
all
you.
these great things because we want you.
Yeah.
And that has since flipped. Now it's like a legit interview. Like they
Right.
want to know,
Why do you-
are you the best person that we could possibly
Right.
get for this spot?
We need good doctors. Yeah. So
My follow-up question: how do you feel about the current healthcare situation? I don't want to spend a ton of time on this particular question.
you know what's funny? Social
But
psych class you and I took together.
I do want
Yeah,
to
we
get
did a whole
the
presentation
take
on
of a
this.
doctor on what you think about it, and maybe what you think could be done about it.
We did a whole presentation in a social psychology class about
Socialized.
versus capitalist,
I mean,
privatized, whatever.
that's a very deep and tough question. I'm going to answer that differently than I think you were maybe anticipating. And that is that as a doctor, and I know that there are many other of my resident colleagues that feel the same way, all of us know that we probably should be involved in the politics of medicine more than we are because physicians really need to be behind a lot of the movements that are made in healthcare. But most of us just don't. Like, we just don't have the time
Right,
to dedicate to being politically involved in what's going on in healthcare.
Right.
Not that I don't want to. I don't have the time. And a lot of it's just many doctors, and especially the older generation of doctors, they're like, I would rather worry about my patients and worry about my own personal practice of medicine, even though I should be making moves to make a difference. Like, I have responsibilities here, and I'm going to take care of those instead.
Right.
So to be completely honest, like, I don't even know all the current nuances in healthcare because I just don't have time to dedicate to it.
There needs to be like there needs to be like a doctor's pack, like a political action committee.
There probably is something.
There are plenty of groups
I'm
of
sure there's
physicians out there
some,
for that.
but one that's not in it to get a certain person elected. It's just there so that if Congress wants to, so like the Parkland kids,
Right.
Let's talk to people who are in there. The problem is insurance companies are more in the pocket of legislators than doctors are.
Right.
So
Right. Do you prescribe a lot of medicine, or have you?
Yes.
How do you feel when people come in and ask for a prescription for Adderall? What goes through your mind?
It depends on how old they are.
Uh-huh.
And I know you, yeah. All right. So,
Well, here's why I'm asking. Because every time I ask, I feel like not that he's ever said anything, my doctor, but I gotta think that in the back of his mind, he's like, he must be selling it, or he doesn't need it. Yeah. Like, it's just there. It's just that goes through my mind, and I just wonder what the doctors are really thinking.
that does go through my mind sometimes. And I know for sure that many doctors are suspicious of adults that are asking for Adderall.
Right.
Because adult ADHD, it could just be that it's not studied as much.
Right.
And so, like, the idea
adult
that...
onset.
Correct.
If you're taking meds, you probably would have been since you were 12.
Yeah, I mean, so if you came to me, you're like, I've been taking Adderall since I'm 12, then I'm like, cool, well, let's just keep this going. If you're like 29, 30 years old, and you're like, I think I have ADHD now, then I'm going to think to myself, like, do you?
Let's do some testing.
Or is there something else going on that we could easier address? Because adult onset ADHD just isn't common.
And
or maybe it's just not studied.
I think that's because I stopped taking it a couple months ago, and I think that I don't know that I have ADHD as much as
you thought.
I think that I'm just tired all the time.
Did you just lose your train of thought?
No.
I'm just kidding.
I think that I'm just always tired, and the Adderall made me not tired. And so I think that there might be a different issue, and that my doctors never really thought to look into it.
Well, and perhaps more commonly, and does present with some of the same symptoms, is depression.
Yeah, that's
which we're both familiar with. So I have a question for you about Adderall. Is there a federal guideline about how long a prescription can last for those controlled ones?
Like if I signed out a prescription right now, like and how long would it take for it to expire?
Yeah, like can you prescribe for more than 3 months for Adderall or more than 6 months? Could you give someone 12? Like my doctor will I get Klonopin and he'll give me 6 months at a time. Mm-hmm. And it's not because he doesn't trust me. It's just my question is that his practice or is it a guideline?
To my knowledge, and I could be wrong about this, I don't think that there's a guideline for that. Yeah. But especially with controlled substances, it's just considered best practice to not write out more than a short-term amount of the prescription.
I appreciate that he does it because he wants to check on me.
Right.
But yeah, I felt that. So I have a funny story about doctors wondering if I'm drug seeking.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if you remember. I got cluster headaches. Yeah.
I think we've talked about this.
I had cluster headaches in my 20s. They're awful. There's just undescribable pain that lasts for like 2 hours every other day for 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know what they were. And so I thought I was dying. I was writhing in pain in bed, and Ashley woke up, and she's like, let's go to the ER.
Uh-huh.
So we went to the ER, and I said, I'm at like a 7 or an 8 in pain. And they put me to sleep with Benadryl.
Oh.
They didn't give me any pain meds.
Okay.
And they took me to did a CT, didn't find anything, and then discharged me, and I was still in pain because they didn't give me any pain meds. They just put me to sleep with Benadryl. In fact, I got up and walked out the door and immediately threw up.
Oh, geez.
And I think my parents went back, because my parents were with me at the time, and Ashley, they went back in and said, he just threw up. Is that normal? And they're like, not really. It was just Benadryl. But I was still, I was still in pain.
So what did they end up doing for you?
Nothing. They're
Nothing
like,
at all.
no, CT's clear. It wasn't until I went to a new family doctor, was telling her my symptoms. She was a PA, actually, and she's like, oh, it's cluster headaches. Mm-hmm. And she gave me Trintilac. Or not Trintilac, that's what I'm on now. She gave me, I don't know, Maxalt.
Heroin.
Okay.
Maxalt.
Sure.
Which makes you feel really funky.
I've never taken it.
I took Maxalt at work one time. I was managing a retail store.
Uh-huh.
I felt a migraine coming on because I get migraines too. So I took a Maxalt. 20 minutes later, I came out, and one of the people I was managing...
Came out of the closet?
Yeah.
Just momentarily?
Yeah, just momentarily. No, one of the people...
Hey, guys.
I came out to the floor, sorry.
Side effects include...
I came out to the floor, and one of the employees that I managed, I forgot his name. I didn't know who he was. I looked down at his name tag, I'm like, who's that?
This was after the Maxalt?
Yeah. And I don't know...
I don't know.
That's how I felt, man. I was like, I should probably go, but I probably shouldn't drive. But Maxalt's like a stimulant, kind of weird. Anyway, yeah, it was a fun. I don't like taking it, but I don't like the pain.
Right.
But yeah, you forget things. You get.
Your experience in the ER just like shines light on another problem just within the hospital system and insurance companies and everything else, because those ER docs, I'm sure they are very good, and I would never speak bad about any physician because I was not there, didn't make the diagnosis, whatever. Yeah. So be that as it is, the goal of an ER physician is to make sure that you're not going to die an hour after you discharge or the next day after you discharge, because then they're going to get sued.
Right.
And then the hospital has to take on the costs and blah, 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 right? So some of them, I think, might say, you're not dying, you got a headache.
Right.
Kind of man up. Maybe not in those words.
No, and it's true. Maybe they didn't. It wasn't until like the next day that I thought, oh, maybe they thought I was drug seeking, But I don't know.
It's possible.
But I take Ashley to the hospital. She was having, I think she had a cyst burst, if I remember right. And she was in huge amount of pain, and they like immediately gave her morphine.
But you didn't walk in and say, I want some Norco.
No, I just said I have a really bad headache that I feel like I'm going to die. In fact, they skipped me over some people. In
those
triage.
are very key words, you realize.
What?
The worst headache in my life.
Yeah.
Those are key words that are usually like, put that guy in a CT scanner right now, make sure he doesn't have a brain bleed.
They did. They CT'd. You know what I mean? I kind of asked for one, just for my own benefit.
You asked for one as soon as you said, this is the worst headache of my life.
You're right. Yeah. I said, I just want to get a CAT scan. Please just do it. But they did. They were going to do it anyway,
Right.
I don't
they're
remember.
good docs.
Yeah, they did. I would go back to that ER. I was just. It sucked when they took the IV out, and the pain came back.
I can see that.
And then I threw up, and I was like, "Just take me home." It's
another
fine.
good treatment for those? Oxygen.
I've heard that.
Just keep some of those like handy little personal oxygen tanks at home, and
where do you
huff on those?
Can you just get them?
In Colorado, you can get them in like 7-Eleven. I don't know where you can get them here.
Can you get them on like Amazon?
Probably.
I've heard that oxygen is great for migraines. Like as soon as you feel one coming on, just hurry and huff some oxygen. I've heard that
it could be good for migraines. It's especially good for cluster headaches.
Clusters. Well, apparently the science says that, or the research says that you stop getting them in your 30s, because I haven't. I think the last time I got them, I was 29.
Interesting. So, yeah, I don't remember what the age range is on there.
It's probably a placebo effect. Like so the doctor's like, oh, you'll stop getting them when you're 30, and it worked.
So maybe subconsciously you're a drug seeker.
That's right. Yeah.
Do you prescribe, or how liberally do you prescribe opiates?
Ooh, I had a feeling this was going to come up.
No judgment.
Because you're killing people.
I try to be very rare with my use of opiates.
Mm-hmm.
I try not to manage any chronic pain patients if I can help it, just because I think they're going to get better help from an actual pain doc than from myself.
Right.
My take on opiates is that they have a very limited spectrum.
Yeah.
Chemotherapy, cancer patients, those people deserve to have those medications, and they work very well for them. Post-surgical patients, for a very short period of time, like a few days, works very well for them. But I know that the longer you take opiates, your brain gets used to them. You habituate to having them, and then they become less and less effective over time.
Right.
You upregulate all these receptors for pain.
Yep.
So when you stop taking them, you feel more pain than you did before. I mean, that's the whole cycle of addiction with opiates. So I try and be very careful about when I prescribe them. I prescribe them for very short periods of time, and I make sure
that's the thing that sucks is people who are addicted to opiates and heroin, like that. The pain they feel when they're withdrawing is real.
Right.
No, it's definitely real.
It's real to them, and because of the brain chemistry, we know about this.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So it sucks.
One more question: how do you feel about chiropractors?
Wow.
And dentists.
Dentists.
I'm just kidding.
So let me say this. So I have a DO degree, right? Which we kind of talked about, Doctor of Osteopathic Medicine, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there's a lot of history here that we don't necessarily have to discuss, but I mean, osteopathy got founded, by a guy who felt like prescription medications were just bad chemicals being put into the body. He felt like you could do better, like helping what's going on inside by affecting the outside. So manipulation of muscles and bones and that sort of thing.
Right.
His name was AT Still, right?
Yeah.
So
my doctor's a DO, and he did some adjustments on me.
Right. So I do musculoskeletal manipulations in my practice, not unlike what a chiropractor does. Chiropractors were kind of an offshoot of osteopathic medicine after it got founded.
Yeah.
So there are very good chiropractors out there that know what they're doing. Unfortunately, I think there's probably chiropractors out there that are kind of more along the lines of being quacky, but that could be for any physician.
What is the schooling for a chiropractor? Do you know?
I know they consider it like it's a doctor of chiropractic
They're PhDs?
medicine. I think so.
They're PhDs. Okay.
They are.
I think so. So I think there's good ones out there, and I think that kind of manipulation of the musculoskeletal system can really have an effect on your overall well-being and probably help in a lot of good conditions, but there's good and bad practitioners.
Every time I've gone to a chiropractor, it feels great, and I feel great after. So I don't know.
Yeah. What about the idea like that once you go you have to keep going?
I hate that.
So that's a very...
Do you feel that way? Or is that false?
No. What I don't like about going to chiropractors is they try to upsell you. Like coming back. Like, okay, we need to see you like every week for the next flight. It's $50 a pop. I'm not going to come back weekly.
I'm not saying what they want. I want to say how you feel. Like if you were going once a week and then skipped a week, would you notice?
Oh, I don't know. I don't... Like, if I could afford it, I would go every week. Why not?
Like I pop my knuckles.
Right.
I'm like
I would go all the time, but it's cost prohibitive.
Yeah.
Well, and here's the thing. I mean, that's part of the chiropractic philosophy, I guess you will. That like you're constantly going to need some sort of adjustment to get yourself back in line, so you're going to need to keep coming back. From my point of view as a DO, you have maybe some sort of musculoskeletal, let's call it a dysfunction, right, that I need to fix when you come into my office. It might take a couple times to like really get it set back the way it should be, but then hopefully you don't need to see me again for a while. It may come back just like you might get sick again, but I don't need to continue seeing you on a regular basis. That's just not part of my philosophy.
That philosophy of a chiropractor, and maybe not all of them are like that, that's kind of false. That's you're implying that your body's always out of line.
Right.
That's not, I mean, our homeostasis should be...
Your body does a good job of
maintaining.
Yeah. And that goes back to that holistic medicine approach, right? For me,
crystals.
For me, manipulation like that is just like another tool in my bag to help heal you as a person. You come to me, I'm going to consider medications, I'm going to consider manipulation, I'm going to consider whatever to make you get better.
I'm going to need an adjustment.
Yeah,
after
can you pop our backs and
Sure. Let's do it.
All right.
Cool.
Have you exhausted all your questions?
No, he hasn't shown me his rash.
No, we talked
I mean,
about
his
that.
friend's rash.
Yeah, we
got a cotton swab. Q-tip. We'll get a swab.
All right, well, that's it for Doc Talk.
It's time for another. Or is it ready?
I'm not sure what you're going.
Another edition of The Onion or InfoWars.
Okay, that is what we're going to. I wasn't sure.
Ethan, are you familiar with this segment?
I don't think so.
I read it.
Oh, that's not the right music.
It's magical, though.
What happens in The Onion or InfoWars is I read a headline from each. One of them being a known satire website, The Onion, and the other one a real news website that some people go to.
All right.
All right.
This sounds like it's going to be exciting.
Sometimes it's really
just
fun.
the music. It's not really that exciting.
It's getting me pumped up.
Oh, man, where did it go?
Oh, you lost it?
I had a good one. Hang on.
This is the music. It's going to be the suspense.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
Okay. There's that one. Okay. You ready for the first one?
Yeah.
Childhood arthritis linked to vaccines.
Okay.
And the next one? Firefighter excitedly checks drop-off bin to see if they got any babies while they were out.
You gotta do better than that. Come on. Obviously, the real one is the firefighters.
I hope that one's the real one, all right?
The Onion is the firefighters one.
Yeah.
The InfoWars run is childhood arthritis linked to vaccines.
Obviously.
Both are equally ridiculous.
Right.
That's why we do this, because it shows how ridiculous...
I should be able to tell.
What we're trying to do is show how ridiculous InfoWars is.
Right.
And that Alex Jones is an actor. He's putting on a character. He's like the dude from for Vendetta. He's just a cockass. If I just say that.
I've never heard that before.
Never heard
that. Is
whatever, I make stuff up.
Yeah,
it's a new hashtag.
Yeah. So InfoWars, yeah. Don't go to their website. Don't buy his supplements, even though you can get double Patriot points right now.
That's right. We talked about that last time.
Yeah.
Huh?
And that's it for The Onion or InfoWars. Oh, you got a comment.
Already?
We had Jack Hall say, he's no doctor, I can spot a fraud a mile away.
Dang you, Jack.
That's a good friend. That's pretty funny.
All right. Let's take a quick break, and we will come back with Ethan's crazy story. And something that bothers me at work.
This doesn't look very good. Oh, this doesn't look very good at all.
Oh.
My nephew drew my portrait. It doesn't look a thing like me. I mean, look at the nose. It's all...
Will you just tell us about Peter's tests?
Okay. Mr. Griffin, all your tests came back negative. As it turns out, the lump on your chest was just a fatty corpuscle.
Fatty corpuscle? Wait a minute. How the hell can a dead comedian from the silent movie era be lodged in my left bosom?
Mr. Griffin, I'm saying you're fine.
I'm fine? What, are you coming on to me now?
Peter, he's not coming on to you. He's trying to tell you that you're healthy.
Can it be both?
Now I know this is ER.
Welcome back.
We're back.
So regularly when we have a guest on the program, we ask them to share a crazy story, a go-to story in their life, and it's Ethan's turn.
All right.
Take it away.
You want to hear a life story first?
Yeah, let's do a life story.
We can do a medical story if you
and
want.
I think this is a story, I'm sure you told me this story because like I said, Ethan was my best man. We've known each other for 20 years, but I don't remember it that well.
All right.
So go ahead.
I mean, it's cool.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
So I used to do search and rescue, right, for the county that's out here. We're in Davis County.
Yeah,
right?
altruistic. Told you.
That's
you don't
also
get paid
'cause
for that.
No, but it's ridiculously fun. It's fun to just be involved. Gives you an excuse to buy ridiculous amounts of cool outdoor gear. It's really fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, I get called one day. It's like 3 p.m, and it is just a blizzard storm outside.
This storm will kill you. It will kill your children. It will kill.
Is it that bad?
That's the way I felt about it. I got up to the trailhead.
What a great line. Okay.
How did you pull that out?
That's good.
That's good.
He has them ready.
I have that one ready at all times.
I love it. So I get up to the trailhead, and it's like sleeting, snowing. I'm just thinking to myself, every time I get called out for a rescue, the weather blows.
Yeah.
Every single time.
Because you can't survive it, and your kids die too.
Anyway, we go up this mountain. We're going after this guy. We're told it was a hunter who had fallen off a cliff and was just unable to move, and we were going to have to go get him down off the mountain.
Yeah.
So we get up to this guy. The storm has gotten a lot worse. The wind's blowing hard. The sleet's even worse. It's like through my coat, freezing my butt off.
Yeah.
We get up there, and we realize that he's like far enough up the mountain that we can't get him down that night. Down the trail.
He's by himself?
He's by himself.
Ugh.
It's like number one rule.
So
Don't go to the mountains by
how
yourself.
did you guys got up there with like ATVs?
No, we hiked to him.
You hiked it?
Yeah. I mean, this was up Adams Canyon, if you know where that is.
Yep.
Like way up on the ridge of Adams Canyon, right?
Okay.
So we get up there. Storm's too bad to like hike him down in like a Stokes litter, right, with a wheel on the bottom.
Yeah.
And the storm's too bad for a helicopter to come in and hover and lift him out. So we realize that we've got to stay there with
This
him.
moves 20 miles to the west.
I'm sorry.
And you and
This is-
everyone you know are dead.
How many do you have from him? Is it 3? Yeah. Okay.
That was the last one.
That's awesome. It's fitting, though.
Yeah.
I mean, so basically they're like, you're going to have to stay with him until the storm passes,
Yeah.
which is probably not going to be until the morning. So luckily we've got a bunch of gear there, but when we have a little bit to kind of make us a little makeshift shelter in the winter, but we're like, this is going to really suck.
How many
like, staying up here
How
all
many
night.
of you were there?
I think there were probably like 6 or 7 of us that decided to stay up there with this guy overnight.
Yeah.
They like had the time to be able to go up there. Again, it's all volunteers, right?
Did you say whether or not he was hurt?
We didn't know how hurt he was. He didn't want to move, and he was kind of out of it by the time that we got up there because he'd been laying down at the bottom of this cliff in the middle of a snowstorm after having fallen. What kind of injuries? Truthfully, I don't even know what eventually his diagnosis was in the hospital. No
Right.
idea. So anyway, the helicopter comes by anyway, even though it can't stay to pick him up, and just drops us a bunch of stuff. Just like drops it out of the helicopters. It flies by, some sleeping bags, some extra shelter and whatever. We put it up that night and we stay with him. We've got like an IV bag that we've like stuffed into like a wool sock to like try and like keep it a little bit warmer, right? That we're running into the sky while we're sitting up there. And we just stay awake with him all night. Morning comes.
Did you get a fire going?
No.
Oof.
No. We had some like little stoves that we
Okay,
used, but and like a little tarp, but it's just very windy and stormy, and like,
Right.
it's not like you can build a cabin, unfortunately.
Well, with the proper training.
Right. I mean, I wish we could have. The best part of this story is, though, morning rolls around, storm goes away, helicopter comes in early in the morning and drops their guy down on his little cable. They
Is this
bundle
the
up the guy?
Is this the IHC helicopter?
I believe this was like the. I can't.
Isn't there a search and
It's a
rescue?
police helicopter.
Yeah,
I can't remember where they're out of. It might be
Did the
Salt Lake
guy
County.
did the guy jump out of the helicopter?
He did, like, sort of on a cable.
Because IHC is the only civilian crew in the U.S. that can do that.
You know what?
Maybe it was them.
Sidebar.
Yeah.
Ashley worked for IHC, and for a photo shoot for a magazine, they took her up and did a photo shoot of that.
Oh, yeah.
Of Life Flight picking her up, and she was hanging with a guy.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So it's either them or the
So it must have been IHC.
IHC or the
But-
National Guard.
One of the sheriff's offices, maybe it was Salt Lake County. I can't remember who it was that owned this helicopter. I don't think it was a Life Flight Hospital helicopter, though. In any case, they come pick him up, put him on his harness, then they get back on the radio, and all of these Life Flight groups have to have so many hours of training all the time, right? So they're like, anybody else want to go down the mountain on the helicopter? And I'm like, absolutely, yes. Over, right?
Yeah.
So they come back up, and I got to go down on the helicopter. So like the helicopter hovers in, the guy like comes down on his like cord or whatever, right?
You had to spider leg
I
him?
had to spider him though.
Yeah.
It was a little awkward, but it was totally worth it. The best part is like they don't pull you into the helicopter. They just pulled us up to the bottom of the helicopter. The guys like grab on. So I just like grabbed onto like the bottom like runner of this helicopter, and we went sailing down the mountain, like dipped down into the canyon and just went like burning down the canyon while I was holding on to the bottom.
You never went into the helicopter?
We never went into the helicopter.
Really?
I was in the harness on the hook,
just holding
spidering the guy,
holding onto the leg,
holding onto the leg of the helicopter while we just like went sailing down the
terrifying.
mountain. It was amazing.
Was it cold?
It was a little cold, but it was totally worth it. I wasn't
It was
thinking
too
about that at the
exciting.
time.
It was too exciting for
That's
it to.
rad.
Yeah,
Dang.
no, it was amazing. And then they just pulled me down to the parking lot, dropped me off, and went about their business.
Went
but
to
it
the
was
hospital?
so fun.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, it was awesome. It's the only time I've been
I wanna
in
do
or around
that.
a helicopter.
Yeah.
I've never been in a helicopter.
Neither have I.
Yeah, I guess so. I just know that when I was in flight school, they kept trying to kill us, the helicopter pilots, the training pilots.
What's that thing called where they take you up to like 20,000 or I don't know how high, 2,000, and they turn the engines off and you have to fall, let the rotors spin, and then kick them back to do a soft landing with no engine?
In a helicopter?
Yeah. I think I
breaking out of a stall?
Yeah,
normally you don't.
I knew a guy that was in the Army.
You don't normally ever actually shut off the engine in training. So
it must
I
have
don't
been in
know.
the Army then. Yeah. I knew a guy
we pretend to shut off the engine all the time. That was
Right.
part of training. But because basically flight training is... Flying an airplane isn't that hard. It's not dying.
What do you do if there's an emergency?
Yeah, that's basically all the training is.
I knew a guy who was in the Army and he flew helicopters.
Yeah.
And part of their training was they went up, turned off the engine. It was
Right.
with an instructor. And as they whatever, cock the blades back.
It sounds like stall recovery.
Yeah. Because as you fall, it starts to spin the blades.
But it would spin them the other direction, right?
Well, you get them spinning, and then as they get going fast enough, you kick them back. And the momentum, the inertia of the blade slows you down so you can kind of just kind of land.
I don't know, yeah.
It's crazy.
But I thought the blades would spin the other way if the helicopter was going down as opposed to up.
Well, it doesn't really matter which way they're spinning as long as right before you land, right before you hit, you turn them the other way, and it lifts the bird back up.
Go figure.
Interesting. Man,
That's
I don't have
really
to
cool.
Google that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did stall recovery. That was when you put the airplane up in the angle of attack so high that there's no air going over the wings.
Yeah.
And then you just drop straight down. But it's not. All you got to do to recover is point the nose down, and then
Right.
you're
That's
you're
what
good.
went wrong with that flight.
So as long as you're not doing it right above the ground, then you're okay.
Did we ever talk more about that flight where that was what went wrong? The sensor thought the plane was nosed up, and the pilot was fighting the stick.
Which plane? The Air France?
It was the most recent one where the gyro sensor thought they were pointed straight up.
Oh, yeah.
And so it kept pointing the plane down, and the pilot was literally fighting with the yoke.
Well, yeah.
And he didn't know how to turn it off.
Yeah, that was the pilots were, but that was the pilots were bad. They were bad pilots.
It happened the day before, but that pilot knew how to turn it off.
Right, that's what I mean. They're bad pilots. That's
it was
like
it was the most recent crash. I don't remember.
Was
which
it
one it was.
Delta or something or United? One of the big organizations said they weren't going to ground them because their pilots knew how to handle that. Because it's not something that should have crashed the plane. It's just they're not good pilots.
Wasn't there a Russian missile just recently that had a similar problem?
I don't know.
But they had put the chip in it upside down that would normally tell it to go up, so it launched straight into the air and then turned around and came and hit the ground.
That would be a Russian thing to do. But yeah, they were on the radio. They were talking about is it Boeing's fault? Is it the airline's fault? Is it the pilot's fault? So there was training from
right.
Anyway, but I don't know how I feel about the computer taking over.
Well, don't fly in an Airbus then.
Well, I'm not the pilot. It's not my problem.
I'm just saying those planes are highly automated.
Right.
Most planes are highly automated.
I understand a little bit of automation, but when it's something crazy like that, it shouldn't.
You trust the human instinct.
There shouldn't be a sequence to turn it off.
I don't know.
You know,
I'd have to read about it.
Should just be
boop, or just know that the guy is yanking on the yoke for a reason.
Right.
Maybe we turn
having
that
a
off.
seizure.
Well, he fought it. It went down and up and down and up for 12 minutes.
Huh.
Anyways,
I don't have to read about it because I don't know. It sounds like pilot error, but
everybody's vomiting in the back.
Do you want to hear a doctor story from Ethan?
Yeah, sure.
Because that story was a little short. Not that it was bad.
No, that's fine.
So now we have.
I wish I was a good storyteller. Instead, I'm just giving you the facts.
Any excuse to play ER music.
Thank you.
So now this will be Dr. Ethan's crazy story.
All right. So
this one guy had herpes.
That's all the time. It's not even good anymore.
Crazy gonorrhea.
Oh, yeah, it's nasty.
Yeah, I bet.
This is even nastier, though.
Oh, okay.
All right. First rotation out of medical school, I'm on an infectious disease rotation. Those are the guys that do extra training to be able to take care of the funkiest diseases known to man, right? And they're the ones that everybody turns to in the hospital for, what kind of antibiotics should I use to treat this really weird bug that came from Central Africa or something?
Ebola? Like
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, those would be the guys that would be hired by the CDC.
There's
to go
one in Nebraska right now.
Ebola?
Really?
Ebola. Yeah.
That sucks. Anyway, he's like, you got to come in and see this guy. we go in and see this guy. He's a very, very obese gentleman. He was probably on 2 beds now that I think about it. Big, big dude. He's there, and the doc's like, check out this infection. And he lifts up the towel to show me this guy's junk. And his scrotum is like the size of a basketball, and it is like eroding away.
Is that not normal?
Asking for a friend?
I mean, volleyball.
Okay.
That's understandable. So he tells me that this guy, he's so obese. He's at work. He works in an office. He goes into the stall to take a dump.
Oh, gosh.
He sits down on the toilet seat, and they don't know how exactly this happened, but somehow he got his scrotum pinched between the toilet seat and the toilet bowl.
Oh, my God.
And he was so big that he couldn't stand back up to get himself unstuck. So he sat in there yelling for help until the fire department could get there and help get him off the toilet, but he'd been there for like 20, 25 minutes where basically he didn't have any more blood flow to his scrotum, and he got what's called Fournier's gangrene. Like basically this just flesh-eating disease necrosis of his scrotum. So, it was so nasty.
So his balls fell in the toilet and got stuck in between?
No, it's like somehow he got his scrotum smashed between the bowl and the toilet seat. So he was pinched between the bowl of the toilet and the toilet seat. Where there's only like
above the
there's only like a half an inch there, right?
Right.
So anyway, he was in the hospital for weeks and weeks recovering from this, on all sorts of funky antibiotics to get.
They
it
didn't
taken
just
care
take
of.
his balls.
No,
Oh,
I mean I
gosh.
don't know how much of them he eventually lost, but I mean we're talking like rotting and just like necrosis, like all
Because
the way
it
up into
lost
his
blood
thighs.
flow and the infection.
Right.
That was already there.
Yeah. I mean, you've already got all sorts of bacteria on your body anyway, probably worse down there.
Right.
And so as soon as you get some sort of, I don't know,
Did it smell
break
like-
in the skin.
Did it smell like almonds?
No.
What?
I don't think you want to know what it smells
Gangrene
like.
stinks. Smells like rotten peanuts.
It's nasty. It is so nasty.
Yeah. Actually, any infection stinks.
I've
wisdom,
never smelled almonds and thought, wow, that smells terrible.
Well, no, you don't think it smells terrible till it's coming off your skin.
Ah,
man.
I got my wisdom teeth out. When I got them out, they got infected,
Uh-huh.
and I could feel the pressure, and then I could feel it release, and it was releasing the infection into my mouth.
Ew.
So I'd immediately get this taste of rotten peanuts. I kept a bottle of Scope, like a mini bottle, in my back pocket. It was terrible.
I don't know how nasty you want to go with medical things and smells.
Go ahead.
The worst smell
If you can
ever.
transmit this over the podcast,
I wish that I could. The worst smell
someday.
ever.
You can send it over text.
Someday. I know.
That would be good. I was with the county coroner out in Iowa, so I would go out with the crime scene investigators and the medical examiners to recover bodies.
Mm-hmm.
And we got a call out to a mobile home one evening. It was like maybe 1 o'clock in the morning, and it was a lady whose son had called because he hadn't heard from his mother in like 5 or 6 days.
Jeez.
And we went in there and found her on her bed. She'd probably died like 4 days prior to that.
Oh my gosh.
It was the most disgusting thing I have ever seen in my life.
How old was she?
I think she's like 55.
Not that old.
Not that old, but just bloated, huge.
Yeah.
I mean, you got all this bacteria in your body already, so when you die, it just starts to eat
just
it.
gross.
Right? And gross. So she's full of just gas. Like, you poke her and you can like hear air escaping from her.
Oh my gosh.
And there's like fluids pouring out of orifices that like you don't ever want to think about.
True
and that
love.
smell like tattooed into my nostrils for weeks. I could not get it out. I had dreams about this like just nasty
You gotta do
bloating
like
corpse.
You got to do like toothpaste in the nostrils.
I should have.
I heard that's what a lot of medical examiners do.
You could put on like a mask and put like some of that
Ashley did that when she worked on the ICU. She would
Essential
put,
oil.
stuff.
When she was going to change someone, like change the chucks,
Mhm.
someone pooped, she would put a mask on with toothpaste in it. But you get you know those air vents that are like just go over the vent. It's like a just like a
Put it up
tuning
your nose?
fork. Yeah, you put it up your nose.
I should have. I wish I would have. It was so disgusting. I'm
I
disturbed
don't know
by
how
this
you
day.
move someone like that.
Gross.
You just have to let all the gas out somehow.
Every time we moved her, gas would escape from somewhere else. Like you could see it like bubbling from.
Are we talking
places.
about?
We should just not discuss this anymore.
I've heard that's how he smells.
Ah. No
Goes through
human. No human being.
Buckets of cologne.
Gross.
Oh.
All right, we got one more thing to talk about.
'Kay.
It's been on my mind
Oh.
for the past day or so. I have a coworker.
Are you breaking up with me?
What? And I went to Jimmy John's the other day.
Oh, I hate Jimmy John's.
I love Jimmy John's.
How could you not like Jimmy John's?
I've told you my Jimmy John's story.
All right. Well, I don't.
It's for another time and place, but
it's irrelevant.
ridiculous.
It's fine.
They delivered me a sandwich with no meat. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, I just like that I don't have to make a decision like I do at freaking Subway. Like I have to figure out what I want. Jimmy John's just tells me what I want on my sandwich.
Whatever.
Nice.
Sucks.
Anyway, so he decides because I got a sandwich that he's going to go to Subway, but he keeps calling it Subways.
Oh.
He's like, I'm going to go over to Subways. And I'm like,
oh, and then afterwards go to Advance Auto Part?
Yeah, I know, right? And then people call Kroger's. Can you think of any others?
Old people?
Yeah.
I'm going to go to Walmart's.
It's usually the Walmart.
So there's
the Walmart, yeah, the Google.
There's a Daniel Tosh clip I want to play for you.
Kroger's and Subways, really? Okay,
yeah.
I got one for you.
Okay.
Frustrated.
Frustrated?
I've had people say frustrated to me.
Okay. That's just a combination of flustered and frustrated.
Right. It's pulling
That's
a Sarah Palin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is one of my favorite Tosh.0 clips. He's talking to this is not really relevant to the story, but he's talking to a 14-year-old juggalo. Do you know what that is?
Oh, yeah.
Someone who likes the Insane Clown Posse.
Yep.
This kid's already kind of weird. But anyway, just see how Tosh handles this thing the kid says here.
Okay.
Have you ever been to the gathering of the Juggalos?
No, I was thinking of going this year.
Where is it?
Illinois.
Illinois. Both of them?
It's pronounced Illinois.
So that's what I try. I try not to do it to people who I know are who are going to get offended. But anytime someone says Illinois, I'll say both of them or Subways, like both of them. I'm gonna go to Kroger's. Both of them, really.
Subways. I mean, I don't know. Go get a sandwich at Quizno. I don't.
That's a good subtle way to get in your stab. I like it.
Yeah, it is because they don't understand.
No,
they just are
They're
like
just gonna let it fly right on by.
Both of them.
It's not so much that you're just adding a random S; it's that you're just saying it wrong.
Yeah,
it's obnoxious.
It's like it's not Subways; it's
Right.
just Subway.
Macklemore.
Do you see an S at the end?
Dumbledore.
Well, like, why would it be Subways? Is it Subway's brother? Like, is it Mr. Subways?
Right? Is it possessive?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
That would bug me too.
I lived with that while I was in Iowa. I lived in Des Moines.
Yeah.
Not Des Moines.
Des Moines.
Des Moines.
Des Moines.
Des Moines.
Yeah. It's French for the Moines.
What is Moines?
Don't know. It's French for something.
This is a map of Iowa, which you're in. Get yourself a new map.
15 miles away.
Good old Tommy boy. Is that all we have?
That's it for me.
Thanks for sticking around if you did. It's a long episode. Don't forget, if you like this episode, please share it with at least one person. And if they message us, you'll get a free t-shirt. It says Doing Pigeons on it.
Doing Pigeons.
Find us at the Artake Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Email us, Bryan at scaryparrotmedia.com or Spencer at scaryparrotmedia.com. This has been a Scary Parrot Media production. Thank you so much, Dr. Ethan Baham.
Pleasure. Thanks, guys.
We love you. For the Artake Podcast, episode 24, I'm Bryan.
I'm Spencer. We'll see you next time.